Good morning, pop culture. We are live. It is Wednesday, July 24th. It's 10:09 a.m. and it's time to start everyone's favorite morning show here on WCBS. So, folks, we're just coming off the High Council last night. That's why we're 9 minutes late. Tea needed to brew. Well, here we are, folks, with Good Morning Pop Culture, everyone's favorite show. Now, folks, we're celebrating a little bit this morning because last night we made the announcement Wokebusters is now funded. So I'd like to thank everyone who showed up to support that book. And anyone that was on the fence who wanted this book but was worried they wouldn't get it, well, we've crossed our funding goal, and now you will. So, folks, you can go to Kickstarter until Sunday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and get yourselves a copy. Once it closes out, it takes 21 days to get the funds. Then I order the books and I ship those out to you. So we're in that final window, and I'm very happy to finally get that book into the world. I'm excited. It's been a long time coming. So we got a lot of people rolling in. Welcome in, everybody. We have new names and old, but everyone is still... They could be happy to see him this morning. Good morning to Jason Evangelista, D. Pensac. Hello to Hampton. Hello to Renzo Kukin 420. We have AJT Comic Brand. What kind of comics are in your brand? I'd like to know. We also have Major, Captain Cabron, Shrubbles08, Clone Geek, and more like Garth Bader. Kevin Flynn got my Stealing Solo yesterday. Can't wait to read it. Well, thank you very much for getting a copy of Stealing Solo here on WCBS, written and drawn by me. And now, I'm looking forward to hearing what you have to say about it. I had a lot of fun making it. People call it Laugh Out Loud Funny. And, well, I hope you enjoy it as much as everyone else. Hello to you, Rogue Thinker. Good morning to everybody in here. It looks like I'm in the dark. I'm really not, but there's some more light. There we go. Who really cares? Everything's great. Wokebusters is taken care of, and now everything seems cool again. I'm very excited about that. You posted some of your art on the channel, AJT Comics Brand. We'll have to go check it out. Hello to Elijah. Hello to Sephirothi. Or is it Sephiroth? Is that how you spell it in the game, though? No. A little different. But, folks, welcome in. Let's get this show on the road. Everybody hit that thumbs up button to let YouTube know that you enjoy this content. I know that you enjoy this content. You're here all the time. So now, guys, we're just a day away from our review of Deadpool. And we're going to talk about that briefly because more bad reviews are coming in. And I was thinking about something, but we'll get to that in a minute. Now, in regards to events on this day, let's talk about somebody who was born on this day. Now, let me get a picture of her because we all like this lady to some degree. She might be kind of a diva, but I think a lot of people like her for many reasons. So, guys, on this day, born on this day, is a very famous singer, dancer. She's known for her butt. She's Jennifer Lopez. I was going to say she's known for tacos and burritos, but I can't do that South Park accent. Jeff Stark, good morning to you. If GMPC is on, it must be time for my Daily Baileys. You know, I could have a Daily Baileys at 10 a.m. Well, not daily. Maybe on a weekend I could do that. Thank you to everyone who has sent in love about Wokebusters, folks. It's happening. It's past its goal. It's past its goal. So here we are. There's really nothing else to tell you guys about the book. It's done. If you ever have questions and you want to know stuff, let me know. I love to talk about the projects. I love to talk about the work and what I got planned next. Now that Wokebusters is taken care of, I'm on Stealing Solo too. You can't really take time with these things. And I want people to understand that my books aren't a once every 3-year event or once every couple years event. They're going to be an annual event. And now with Mark Hamill and all of his politics, I'm going to make sure that Stealing Solo 2 is ready as soon as it can be. I have already started. I have the outline done. I have the jokes, some of the jokes written. I have the outline for part 3 done already too, because knowing where 2 goes, I went, this is how we get to Frankenfisher, and I've already mapped that out. So I'm excited. I even have splash pages designed, a cover idea. Like I told you too, we're changing the name. We're going from Shadows of Bullshit to Stealing Solo to The Power of the Farce. We might even have a cover kind of like this. I know technically the Phantom Menace edition borrowed the back art, but the Phantom Menace edition is kind of like an Elseworlds version of the book. So it's good. It's a great version of the story. But, you know, it's not in line with the mainline continuity. I can't believe I just said that about my own books as I bitch about everything. Don't want to be like George R.R. Martin and release once every lifetime. Honestly, if we can get the books to be as profitable as I need them to be and do it, quarterly, I'd love to do a quarterly comic book. Now, Wokebusters is 100 pages, folks. I hope you enjoy that. The next book will not be. Stealing Solo 2 is not 100 pages long. It doesn't need to be. The first Stealing Solo is 52 pages and it hits the notes. Got to remember, folks, I tell different types of stories. I'm not telling epic superhero stories or science fiction stories yet. I'm telling comedies with a hint of action with Stealing Solo and a shitload of it in Wokebusters. Jeff plans better than Lucasfilm when it comes to his projects. Thank you very much, D. Pensack. I try. I love my project. Here's the thing. I love my audience and what I do. Disney just looks at it as a number. Oh, great. These people again. No, we're having way too much fun with this. So let's see. Have you ever considered teaming up with a 5th generation comics YouTube channel? He's always talking about returning to classic sword and sorcery comics, timeless plot lines. I am very happy to team up with any YouTube channel that is interesting. Some people are like, oh, if they don't have 100,000 people, I'm not going to cross over with them. I'm not like that. I mean, you got to have some bit of a following, like at least be, I don't know, 5 people, 10 people. No, but in reality, if you put out interesting content, I will watch it and I will definitely check it out and reach out to those people. Sometimes I'm watching this guy who only has like 1,000 people, but he's putting out these great comic book retrospectives about artists. I absolutely love his work. I think the dude puts out really good stuff. And I'm waiting for him to do the James Bond Jr., the John Romita Sr. video. That's going to be incredible. So, folks, the lady on screen, it is her birthday, Jenny from the Block. On this day in 1969, J-Lo was born. Any J-Lo memories? She's pop culture. We like her for specific reasons. I guess my favorite work of hers is In Living Color, because In Living Color is great. We also have Barry Bonds, born on this day in 1964. Yes, he's got a song written about him by Kanye West, but he's also kind of a controversial figure. Also, there's Karl Malone. We all love Karl Malone so much that Jimmy Kimmel goes into blackface and plays him. Also on this day, but she's long dead now, Amelia Earhart was born in 1897. Also, in terms of other entertainment-based news, Regis Philbin passed away on this day in 2020. He was 88 years old. Today was the day in 2005 where Lance Armstrong was, he won his first Tour de France in 2005. Now, I kind of have a weird take on the Lance Armstrong thing because it's not cool to lie at all about any of this. Him with his doping and stuff like that. But Lance Armstrong gave my uncle with cancer like hope to get through the stuff, and he's still around today. And so the Live Strong band might be kind of hokey to some people, but I saw it firsthand what it means. So yeah, he cheated. Yeah, he did steroids, but he gave a lot of people inspiration. So I'm going to balance that out as Lance Armstrong may have been stripped of his titles, but he's okay in my book because he paid the price. We also have on this day released in 1998, Saving Private Ryan. Now, I have only seen this movie once. We watched it in school. It was a very bloody World War II movie, but it's a classic. One of Spielberg's best. A lot of times people in their, they have their prime, and like Steven Spielberg's prime was the 1980s. He goes from Raiders, 1941, but that's what it is, to Raiders, to E.T. He produced Poltergeist. He did The Color Purple. He did Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. He produced Goonies and Back to the Future in the same year. I mean, the guy is the most prolific film director of all time. There's really not many other people's names associated with film that have carried that much weight and done that many great things. So let's see what everyone's saying about those movies real quick, or that movie. Nothing yet. We have more to talk about, though, because now the numbers has something interesting. On this day in history, what has the highest amount of money? So that's how we're going to differentiate our on this day. We have record opening days, we have record days, and stuff like this. So on this day, last year, we don't want to talk about Barbie. Let's talk about something a little interesting. So films that were released on this day for their record opening. I can't believe it, but G-Force, the movie about that hamster, has the opening day record for July 24th. There's also The Ugly Truth, which I don't remember. Saving Private Ryan comes in at number 3 with only 9.7 million. Then we have Pixels, Paper Towns, Southpaw, Orphan, Disturbing Behavior, Jane Austen's Mafia, and the Vatican tapes. I almost said the vertical tapes. So not a lot of great films outside of Saving Private Ryan released on this day. Pixels, not for me. I like video game movies. I like video game content. I'm going to work on stuff like that in the future. But man, not that one. So I hope Deadpool is good. Jay Ward, I hope Deadpool is good as well. Now, folks, I'm not coming in here with all the doom and gloom. I'm going to see it tomorrow. I might make a video talking about these reviews. If it's good, if it's bad, what does that mean? But overall, Deadpool is going to make a lot of money, and that's what people care about. Now, I don't know why audiences care about it as much. I hear people say, why do you talk about a movie if it fails? Because there are certain types of failures. There are the types of failures that people see coming a mile away because they don't want that as a movie, like The Eternals. And then there's other stuff that fails that surprises people, but it's actually a really good movie. So you can't always use the box office as an indicator for quality. If anything, books, comics, TV shows. You know, The Big Bang Theory and Two and a Half Men are two of the most watched, and the actors are the highest paid. I think those shows suck. If you say, oh, this thing made the most money, therefore it has to be good, is Avatar good? No, Avatar's not a very good movie. It made a bunch of money because it was technologically advancing, 3D, and it was this new thing that it was an event. And then Avatar 2 comes out and makes almost as much money. And why? Because Avatar's just this thing that makes money. It's not this thing that's good. It's not this thing that's impactful. It's this thing that makes money. And therefore, it is what it is. So people have fallen into the trap. For Avatar to be an Avatar movie, it has to make money. I got to see Avatar. It's an event. It's going to make money. Like James Cameron, that was a smart move on his part. Now, with Deadpool and Wolverine, I don't think this is going to be anything but a big hit. It's going to break records. It's going to make tons of money. But I don't think it'll move the needle the way we want. I don't think it's going to be this game changer, but it could be entertaining. It'll make close to $2 billion if it's good. That's exactly what Kevin Smith said about Batman versus Superman, Dawn of Justice. Blade Runner failed in the theater. See, last time I mentioned about Blade Runner, how much I tried to like it. And if you're my Facebook friend, I even posted something from 2011, maybe it was 2012, saying, man, I try to watch Blade Runner and I just don't get it. But that's a thing where I will even go to bat for it. It is a classic. It is iconic. The trope just never lands with me. But I keep buying it for some damn reason. It's like I try with that movie. So I'm seeing a lot of people in the chat right now. You guys are saying it won't really matter because the MCU as a whole is tainted. And yes, it is. The whole is tainted. The version of Blade Runner I'm talking about is every version. I own that box set that has every cut. And like I told the story, my dad had it on tape. I inherited it from him. I tried to watch it because I liked Harrison Ford. Didn't get it. Waited many years. Watched it again on the Blu-ray set with all of them. Bought the book. Bought the comic book adaptation of the novel, which is literally Philip K. Dick's words just with art. And then I also read the Marvel Comics adaptation. So I have really tried with Blade Runner. I have tried. And yes, I did go down to Union Terminal when Superman was filming. I got some pictures of the crew. I didn't see Superman, but that tunnel that they went to film in, I drive through it most days. So I was inconvenienced by Superman as well. So, on topic, I agree with this. Guardians 3 and Deadpool will have the same value to the MCU. We don't talk about so many things. I believe we finally caught up to the disposable society in movies where we will see it and we won't think about it quickly. And that hurts the box office because they want to keep throwing stuff at you constantly. And there are always distractions. Yes, the cell phone. Yes, the TikTok. Yeah, I called it the TikTok because I'm that old. Yes, the Batman. No, those things all keep you away from movies. And I don't find movies that are good enough to keep thinking about. Now, there are a few. Late Night with the Devil. That is my favorite movie this year. That movie stuck with me. I thought about that for days. I'm thinking about it right now. and I really loved it. If my local theater was playing it at midnight or 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, I'd go see that. I'd make a special trip out to watch it again. And I plan on getting the box set, the deluxe one, because that's the way I want to support a movie that I think is worth my dime and your time. It's a movie that really stuck with me, and it makes me question a lot of stuff in terms of independent filmmaking, what you can do with a small budget. This actor, David, let's call him David D, because I'll butcher his name off the top of my head. He's talented. He's even writing comic books. So that's the kind of guy that I want to back. I want to go and say, well, he makes interesting stuff. He's not out here on social media preaching at me about this and that. He's just a guy, and he's making good work. And so with Deadpool and Wolverine, I expect us to laugh. I expect some people to cry. I expect the really obnoxious videos about every Deadpool Easter egg you missed. Watch the goddamn movie. I hate when people, I'm not going to watch the movie. I'm going to read the Wikipedia page and I'm going to watch the videos about these movies and then I'm going to tell you like I've seen the movie. No, you can watch that stuff. You can read that stuff. But to be in the conversation about the movie, you got to at least watch these things. Did I make up shit about The Acolyte? No, it was as bad as it is because I watched it. I saw it with my own two eyes. I can't even talk about it without getting a little angry. Okay, I'm not angry. I just feel like I wasted my time. But the way I feel about Deadpool and Wolverine is I'm like ready to go get my fucking X-Men shirt on and go out in that theater. But I also expect it to be kind of like Deadpool 2, where it's hollow. And I just, I'm not really feeling too much. That David guy's in so much cape shit. He is. I like him in Ant-Man quite a bit. I need to see Nefarious Darth Vader. I keep hearing many things about that. And I want to. I like horror movies. Horror is the genre I'll watch anything. I even watched that stupid they-them gender reassignment horror movie with Kevin Bacon, and it is probably the worst horror movie I've ever watched in the last 25 years. It wasn't anything. I can remember it. I remember the feeling I had watching it. The frustrating feeling of wasting my time. That's how I felt watch that. Now, The Who, that's an interesting flip to this. If the critics hate it, it has to be good, means there's no wokeness. Now, a lot of times, what audiences like and critics like do not line up. I just hope this is a situation where we're not overlooking the movie's flaws because it's not liked by the critics. I've said this many times on the channel, and I'll continue to say this over the years. We live in a society where entertainment, namely video games, are made for the critics. Most of these woke video games that we hate with the flat-chested women that look like dudes and the gameplay that's garbage and it's mostly a walking simulator with cutscenes is because you get these journalists who are trash at video games. It is their ideals, their connections, their political affiliations that get them these jobs at IGN, that didn't get them these jobs at Kotaku. It is just a cesspool of one side of the aisle, and I'm pointing to it, but you don't know what side I'm on if my camera's flipped or not. Is my camera mirrored? I don't know. You'll never know. But my point is, when it comes to gaming, I do feel like that because the gaming experience is so subjective. It's completely different than the movie experience because we're all watching the same movie. In theory, we're all playing the same game, but what we're not doing is having the same experience with said video game because it is interactive. For example, when I play any kind of game that involves some kind of exploring, the first thing I do is I turn around and I look at the room behind me and I do one quick glance to make sure I didn't miss an item or a hidden treasure or the spider token that's going to be in every level. I play like that just to cover my bases. Also, too, when I play a game with multiple difficulties, I always put it on the hardest and I'm willing to die 50 times so I can enjoy the game as it's supposed to be. Because a lot of these things are easier these days. And it's like, oh, great, Atomic Heart. That's the one where I did drop the ball. I turned it onto the hardest difficulty. That game is fucking hard. But that's what makes it fun. I'm not looking to experience the cutscenes or the pseudo Cold War era. No. I care about the gameplay above all else. And sometimes games have great gameplay or really stupid features that make me laugh and make me return to the game. and a critic goes, well, it's not deep. It doesn't advance the technology. It doesn't change the medium. Not every fucking game needs to be. Sometimes I want to sit down with my annual release of a WWE game and I'm off to the races and I'm happy. Now, when it comes to movies, though, it's more up to interpretation than it is actual experience. And it's a less wide berth because it's the same story. It's acted the same way. Everybody's seeing the exact same film. It's just how it lands for you. I know that I like a certain type of comedy. I might come off as a crotchety old man when I say this, but there's certain type of humor that I find really stupid that a majority of people would enjoy, and I always roll my eyes at it. And that is Deadpool humor. It's like low-hanging fruit, masquerading around as intelligent, but picked up by the masses. And if a lot of people like it, good. That means it worked. That means they're having a good time. And I'm not going to be the crabby old man. But remember, I hated The Force Awakens. Critics loved it. Fans loved it. Now we look at it as a big piece of crap. Just keep that in mind, folks, moving forward with any kind of thing. Everybody, you're entitled to your own opinion. Think for yourself. Vote with your wallet. Do the stuff that you believe in. All I will tell you is what I believe in and how I like to operate. And luckily, almost 198,000 of you really enjoy the way I operate. But I'm getting the hello, fellow kids vibes as well. It's a movie that needs to succeed because it needs to. So it's the Stone Cold Steve Austin at WrestleMania 17 dilemma. I need to beat you, Rock, more than anything you could possibly imagine. That is how I'm looking at this movie. This is Kevin Feige's Hail Mary. We need to make a movie that's going to hit. And this movie is going to hit. It's going to make a lot of money, and it's going to get people singing its praises because it's not woke, it's not this, it's not that. And if that is the most important metric to everyone, I'm happy for you. But I'll tell you this. Beverly Hills Cop 4, 0% woke. Good story, good acting. I think about that movie every couple days. Now, She-Hulk, somebody said She-Hulk wasn't woke, it sucked. I don't ever want to give it my time. Dion watched it. He tried to ironically tell us he liked it. It was crap, and he didn't even finish the damn show. I'm just looking at people's comments about stuff. Breath of the Wild is amazing. I beat that game as well as Tears of the Kingdom. I'm a Zelda fanatic. I've told that story. My parents were pregnant with me when the first Zelda game was out. And, well, it's a good... I picked up the mantle in Ocarina of Time, and I've never stopped. Dr. Coffinails, good luck with your vacation, my friend. Be safe out there. I'm going to go with They, Them is worse than The Exorcist. Oh, you must listen to the show regularly to know that I hate The Exorcist too. Ah, man, this is a hard one. I'm going to go... Remember, I did say the last 25 years. So I'm definitely sticking with They, Them for the last 25 years. I think I'd rather watch They, Them over The Exorcist 2. I can't sit through The Exorcist 2. I have to turn it off. The movie's terrible. My God. This is my favorite Dion phrase. Dion is Mikey from Life's Hero. He likes everything. Yes. Yes. He's too busy to be a dad to care. Leighton Swallow says it was woke. I was erring on the side of that when you got... Now, I always say wokeness, a woke piece of entertainment is a story or video game or any kind of thing where the politics outweigh the story, the content. And She-Hulk just seemed like it was trying to be... Now, She-Hulk is what I consider a girl boss thing. Based on the stuff that I've seen, it looks like a girl boss show, a girl boss movie. And then I saw her twerking with Megan Thee Stallion, and I went, this is not for me. It's not fucking funny. I have a sense of humor. I write comedy. I'm into this shit. But a twerking CGI puppet isn't funny to me, especially when the last 40 minutes or whatever of the show is something else. And do you really want to watch Daredevil and She-Hulk bang? That is peak crap Marvel. That is when you let the inmates run the asylum. When you have so many people out there and they just make crap entertainment. Well, Mutter Meek Seeks, I'm glad you found us on Rumble. We're going to be continuing to put stuff out there all the time. I got to do better about the videos. Well, I get to rebrand and do some new stuff. Yeah, that's the kind of stuff I'm not into. I'm not into shows that dump on women. I don't want to watch domestic abuse. I don't want to watch women get slapped around. I'm not into that kind of stuff. Now, I will watch stories that feature that. That's fine. I'm not like, oh, I'm triggered by this shit. No, like I told you, the only thing that's overly violent for me is when Murphy becomes RoboCop. It's not funny to me. I get that it's supposed to be, and I think that's why I dislike it so much. Because I'm like, I don't see the humor in this. What am I missing? I don't want to watch him get blown apart. So that's it. But yeah, like the Acolyte had a lot of I don't want to say it's man hating. It had a lot of bad messaging because morality is irrelevant. If you are a certain type of person, oh, they made me have negative emotions. You know what? I've had negative emotions from watching television, paying taxes, all kinds of crap. Like, did my student loan turn me into a Sith? No. I mean, come on now. This is what Wokebusters is about. Modern day stupid things make people so offended they become monsters, and then 4 guys go, we got to stop this because it's going to destroy the world. And so they create a business to stop that. That is what Wokebusters is. The mundanity of life. Oh, I'm so offended. Oh, I'm so triggered. Oh, shut the front door. Sorry, I'm really trying to not cuss at 10 in the morning. I want to create a show that you can listen to in front of your kids and a show that you can listen to at work, and people won't go, oh, you can't have that kind of language at work. I'm not going soft because I'm afraid of something, but I do understand that this show is consumed with people, with families, with working people out there, and you're working and lurking. And so if you're working, I want to make sure that you're not, having some guy on your phone scream, F this and F that. No. We'll save it for nighttime. Realistically, though, it doesn't benefit the channel, and we've never been a let's cuss ad nauseum for everything. Maybe on the show because it's 4 guys, shooting it. But other than that, we've always kind of been, the name's ironic. Like the whole BSers part. It's, oh, wait, I think this is going to be some garbage video about this. Oh, wait, we actually get into the economics and failures of these toys in a different way. So thank you, Vincent, for being a worker lurker. Folks, if you want to be working and lurking and support this channel, go to shopwcbs.com and get yourselves a glass, a Good Morning Pop Culture mug. We have been selling them. I'm not going to say names because that's not my business. But what my business is to be waiting for my mug to appear. I'll be drinking it on air with you guys each and every morning. And then maybe next year we'll have our Good Morning Pop Culture blend coffee. I'll see if the quartering can give us a special package or something. Maybe we'll work out a deal. It's like, look, man, the Good Morning Pop Culture brew from whatever his brand is, and we'll bring it to you guys. You say there's no morals in truth, which is most people. Now, truth is subjective. Morality is subjective. I do think there is a wider acceptance for certain type of morally good things. But I do stand by my definition of politics overriding the story. Because you might have morally good people, but if they're very like a certain type of political leaning, and that's what the story's about, there's no story. It's just about their virtue of being, left-leaning this or that, or right-leaning this or that. Do you have woke right movies? I don't think you do. Anyway, that is a topic for this channel. That is something that's important to talk about. I think it's great to be vigilant. I don't think it's enough to say this movie is not woke, go see it. That is low-hanging fruit, and I need to do a little better myself personally, because like Twisters, you can argue that Twisters is not a woke movie. You can talk about this or that. If somebody goes, oh, it's woke, it's about a bunch of college kids from every color of the rainbow going out and fighting storms. No, that diverse group of college kids, they're all dead. Like, those kids are all dead. And it's like not really important to the story, because I did go to college, and it's not, just one type of person at college, and it hasn't been for a long time. That's about as deep as it goes. Out in Oklahoma, where the movie takes place, it represents the demographic. Also, too, there's no girl boss stuff, none of that stuff. But that doesn't make it a good movie. What made it enjoyable was the acting was solid, the interactions with the characters. The girl had some interesting backstory. We watched her fail. We watched her want to pick it up, and she doesn't. Glenn Powell is so generic but likable that you can't help but enjoy his character. He's a YouTuber who chases storms. But that movie itself would not have any wokeness in it. People can read into it to try to get some views up, but it's not one of those movies. But just because it's not one of those movies doesn't make it good. I liked it because it was surprising. It was intense. It was paced well. It was 2 hours and it doesn't feel like it. Or maybe that was Beverly Hills Cop. But one of those movies is 2 hours long and moves very fast. Twisters moves fast and it looks great. I enjoy that. If morality is subjective, then good and evil do not exist. And truth is not subjective. See, now I got you guys going. I'm not going to keep poking. I think when it comes into these shows and these movies, what you have to do is you have to think what your purpose is. And if your purpose is to entertain, well, then to entertain is to a wide audience. Now, of course, if it's a personal story, you can tell a more narrow focus thing, but it shouldn't be insular and keep people out. Hot Fuzz and Shaun of the Dead are very different types of movies. They're very much their own brand of stuff, but they're not insular to a fault. If you have the time to sit through Hot Fuzz, the payoff's worth it. But it's one of those movies where each scene builds and builds and builds, and then you need to go that way. Ooh, Service does not like me. Oh, well. I do love Hot Fuzz, too. I love Hot Fuzz as well. I need some more tea. But anyway, folks, this movie and its crusade of whatever, anti-woke, this and that, I don't think it'll ever matter with Deadpool 3. That's really not the point of it. The point of it is it going to be something that, one, audiences enjoy, which is probably what it's going to be, and two, it's going to be a thing that really gets people talking and move the needle for the brand. And I don't think it will. I don't think it's about that at all. I have read these reviews and I'm waiting to see the movie before I give my own take and my own opinion. And none of us have seen it. This is the early critical stuff. This is me just talking about how more reviews are rolling in. And this one got a 5 out of 10. And I'm just like, there we go. I'm back. As a longtime fan, as long as it's just fun and I want to watch, that's all I ask of Deadpool. That's all I ask of Deadpool as well. I just want it to be a good time. I want to have a good time with it, and I want to enjoy the film. There we go. I'm back. Let's see. If an actor in a franchise you like and producer and woke writers don't get in the way, things are usually okay. A good actor-director can still make a movie like Deadpool 3 impervious to critics and us. I think that, let's see. Things are usually okay. Deadpool also, too, has the goodwill of a lot of things that other movies don't. So, for example, Ryan Reynolds is generally liked. He's kind of got a good buzz about him. I don't know. Like, I don't watch Welcome to Wrexham. I don't watch everything he does. Sunny Sunrise says, I just saw it. I had fun. Well, good. That's the point of all of this stuff. It's about entertainment. It's about enjoying it. I'm happy for you. I'm hoping it's good. See, that's why I'm not making all these videos, and I have to preface it because people on YouTube, they don't really look deeper into the video. If I were to make a video talking about bad reviews from another outlet and saying, are people, and ask you the question, are people going to overlook the quality of the film because they want to like something? That's considered being a hater, and it's kind of hard to ship through that. So luckily, we have this platform. You know what? I may have misspoke, Laden Swallow, but just like, if it's going to keep being a thing, I'm just going to move on to something else. I'm curious about the film's legs too. Um, it's going to make bank. It's going to be the number one movie this weekend. What comes out next weekend? So let's see. July. Wait, are we in August next week? Oh my God. August box office. That's going to be the thing that blows me away. August box office release. I don't want the 2023 one. I want the 2024 one. 2011. Films August 2024. Apparently, we got Alien Romulus. That's what we're going to be covering next month. I've been watching Alien the entire week to get ready for that because I have to make some content with that. Just thinking the first R-rated movie in a while that's going to be number one at the box office. Well, if Beverly Hills Cop would have hit the theaters, that would have been number one at the box office. Alien Romulus, I think, is an R-rated film. That'll open at number one. Kraven the Hunter, I don't care about that one. Borderlands is PG-13. That will be a solid movie in terms of like the return, because there's enough Borderlands fans out there. Am I a Borderlands fan? Enough to play the first 3 games, and that's really about it. I don't own any of the stuff. I like Borderlands more than I like Fallout. Fallout is fine, but it's not engaging enough for me that I'll keep going back. I did enjoy the characters in Borderlands a little more. And also, too, Fallout kind of peaked for me with 3 in New Vegas, and then I just stopped caring. Those were the only 2 Fallout games I really got into. No, you can't say a movie's been woke for over a century when the phrase woke didn't exist over a century ago. I think this is where a lot of people want to just label the thing because it's easier on the internet. And these things are real. But all I'm asking you guys is to think a little deeper and actually break that stuff down. Because, you know, if you're looking about something, looking at a story that, like, is the Goonies woke because Data's Asian? Like, is that what we're going to start picking apart now? Because if you're going to start saying the Goonies is woke, I'll fight you every day on that shit. The Goonies is a great movie. And the message is about a group of friends. It doesn't matter that they look a certain way. Does it really matter to the story that Chunk is Jewish? No, it only matters because it's good jokes. It's not about having a diversity quota. It's, you know, old Hanukkah decorations or that. It's just a passing line. Those characters aren't defined by those little bitty things. Chunk is defined by being a fat kid. That's his defining trait. And that trope is in every kid movie back in the day. Monster Squad has another one. Monster Squad is the Goonies, essentially. My name is Horace. Well, let's see. Hey, you guys is right. I love House of the Dragon, but it might be the most woke show ever made. Didn't that just have lesbians kissing? Like, I saw a Tourette's guy meme, and it had the 2 women, and it's like, that just means they like what I like. You know, it's hard to get a definition of wokeness down because everybody wants to twist it for their own means. Like, that's why I call the book Wokebusters. It's meant to be ironic, and it's funny. Rogue Thinker says nothing before 05 was woke. Woke is a modern agenda thing. It's definitely a modern thing. If you're going to tell me that Guess Who's Coming to Dinner is woke, it's like, not really. Not really. Like Ghostbusters 2016, that's the type of movie we're talking about, where it's clearly about the women being Ghostbusters. It's not about the story that they go through. Oh, we're going to hit the guy in the nuts. That's the end joke. Paul Feig's garbage. That is what would fit into that definition. Or in a movie like A Last Jedi, or anything where a character, it doesn't even have to be Star Wars, anything where a character is given a pass because the people behind the scenes think it's important to tell a powerful story or a positive story with this character. What they do is they create hollow characters. We're going to give them this, and that, but they haven't earned it. We don't dislike these characters because they're women. We dislike these characters because they didn't earn the spot that they've been given. It's the same in real life. Nobody likes a Nepo baby. No one's going to go, oh, you know, damn it, Prince Harry is really great. That's why he's on TV or something. No. He's a Nepo. He's famous. He's a prince. Whoop-de-doo. He's famous for being born into a family. There are so many actresses. I had an episode of The Love Boat on. Tori Spelling was on there. Why is she in acting? Because her dad was Aaron Spelling, and he is, a television producing icon. That's it. That's what a Nepo baby is. And wokeness feels like nepotism. It's like, we're going to give things a pass because Doctor Who falls into that category. Do you really need Doctor Who to look like this and that? No, people liked that shit before you tried to make it, worldwide and this and that. This dude right here carried a lot of weight on his shoulders. We don't really need to continue to change him up like that. A woke story where everything is on the woke, then the story. Yep, you gotta really enjoy that kind of stuff, said no one ever. Man, good morning pop culture. We're rolling up to close to 300. Maybe when we hit 300 people, which is only 3 away, should I do an unboxing at the end of the show? Should I pull something off? Should we open it and check it out? I don't know, guys. I'm waiting on you. We got to get to 3 more people, and we can make that happen. Woke is actually the rise of Roberts Morton Ruse, warned of such book, The Wave. I've never heard of that book. Well, let's take a screenshot of it, Sunny Sundries, and figure that out. Now, in terms of Deadpool and Wolverine, is there anything else you guys are excited for? Asuka, I have not seen the film. Like I said, we're just talking about the new reviews that keep pulling in. Oh, it's not good. It's not this. It doesn't really move the needle. So I'm looking forward to seeing it for myself before I make any judgment. I'm going in completely blind to this movie. I know what some people are saying. That doesn't affect me. What will affect me is if it's bad. And it's going to be one of those situations where you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. Because it's easy to say, if you like this movie blindly, some people will watch it and they'll be happy with the video. But if you are honest and critique it, oh, you're a hater, you just hate Marvel. It's like, no, nothing is automatically given a pass. Beverly Hills Cop didn't give a pass. That was the thing I wasn't going to give a pass to, and luckily I didn't have to. Yeah, heavy duty mayo. That's kind of lining up with how I say it as well. 3 Overhouse. I'm buying that Metal Gear Solid re-release. And there we go, folks. We got over 300 watching right now. So let's do the numbering system. If you want to see something from the collection, let's see. Dial 1 for wrestling, 2 for Power Rangers, 3 for Marvel, 4 for other, and then I'll pick something out from the other. But there we go, folks. And the numbers keep on rolling in. What up, Nat, your average nerd? Welcome back. Haven't seen you in a minute. Hello to everybody out there. Like I said, folks, here on WCBS, I will never review a movie that I haven't seen. I will talk about trailers. I will do all of those things. And I'll never lie about a movie either. If I hate it, I hate it. If I like it, I like it. But I'm not going to watch these things with rose-colored glasses. You want 4, something from unrelated. Okay. And 3, Enrique says Marvel. Okay, we'll give it a minute for some more numbers to roll in. But it looks, hold on, there's a lot of numbers. There we go. So in a minute when those slow down, then I will take a tally of it, and we'll do that. So, M-Dawes, let me know what you think about it. Nat, your average nerd, no apologies necessary. We're just happy to have you back, man. I'm glad you're safe from the hurricane. The weather up here was slightly affected by it. We had some storms, but nothing serious like you guys. So I can't complain. If I bitch about a rainstorm, when I lived in California, people were like, I can't drive, it's raining. It's raining. What the hell? Like, I understand if it doesn't rain for a long time and then it rains, oil that is seeped up into the ground can cause the road conditions to be slippery. And you're saying, I've never heard of that. I was in a car wreck once because of that. We were at a stop and it was wet. And the insurance company had said that. Like, yeah, that's why the claim was a little different. We were hit. We didn't do the hitting, but that's neither near nor there. Let's see here. Let's look at the numbers now. So I said 1 for wrestling. We only got 1 for wrestling, literally. Let's see. 2. All right. Okay. So 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, 1. 4 definitely won the stuff. Yeah, Enrique's right. It's usually drizzling. California drivers can't drive in tiny rain. Well, you know what's up. Is as a resident, and I know what's up as a former resident. David L., what is up? We got our first super chat of the morning. Hey, Jeff and the WCBS. It's been a while since I caught a live show. Good morning to all. David L., thank you very much for joining us live here on Good Morning Pop Culture, Wednesday edition. Normally, when I do the High Council, I'm kind of a zombie in the morning, trying to just get through whatever till I wake up. Not today, folks. I'm excited. Overhouse, I'm glad you're the sole number one. That's why, what was it? The number one for the trial. I can't praise the tribal chief, okay? I don't like Roman Reigns that much at all, actually. But let's get you guys something crazy to show from the shelf. Now, hopefully you can hear me as I'm walking away. Here we go. This one's kind of fun. Let's put that up there. Now, folks, I talked about this on our Super Saturday show, which I am bringing back this Saturday because I had so much fun with each and every one of you guys and ladies out there, too. But what am I showing? Let's show this Legend of Zelda treasure chest. I almost called it a briefcase. But no, this is a great gift from a listener in the chat. And I'm going to show something else because, you know, he gave it, so I want to show other things. But it's got the hardbound Zelda manga. So there we go. That was an awesome thing. And it comes with like a Zelda poster. It has the book, The Four Swords, The Minish Cap and Phantom Hourglass, Oracle of Ages and Seasons, Majora's Mask, Link to the Past, and Ocarina of Time gets its own book. And let's show one of these bad boys right here. It is cool, David. It is awesome, Caffeinated Wolf. We got some great people and friends from the channel. But I mean, look at this right here. We'll show that in a second. Lovely hard edition. And it's manga. We all like art. We all like manga. We all like this stuff. It is so Ocarina of Time is my favorite Zelda game by a lot. You just had to be there when it was new, like I was, really feel everything that was going on. I really loved the fact that it was like a cultural thing. It was an experience. It wasn't just let's play Zelda. Like everybody. That's why I love entertainment. Kind of like the end of Fanboys. My favorite line of that movie is when his brother comes down to the movie theater at the very end after making fun of all of them. He goes, I'm always down for the wars, bro. It's just like that little moment. You're like, I don't care if we're antagonistic the entire film and you call me a loser and this and that. When the thing that we both like comes together or comes out, nothing else matters. It's irrelevant. It's perfect. It's like, you know what? We're all on the same playing field. Now let's have a good time. The water temple isn't that hard. Kendo, I gotta ask Kendo how he described it to me, but now I kind of got it committed to memory about the layers. You just go down and you go up this one, that, and that one. The only time I had trouble with my walkthrough or replay 2022 now, was Shadow Link. Shadow Link was the one that gave me trouble because I forgot how to fight him. I had to look. That was the one thing I had to look up. I'm like, how do you beat this dude? Do I have any Lone Wolf and Cub books? No, I do not. But I'm always looking to get more stuff. So David L. says, can you get this on Amazon or Walmart? You can get it at Amazon, I believe. And you're right. Anyone can find something to break bread with. Yeah. I don't want to sound like some hippie guy on this channel, but like, I do think people getting along is very important. It doesn't mean you have to believe in everything the same way. It doesn't mean that you have to be eye to eye on everything, but you got to just straight up, find that common ground. And that's where the fun is for me. Also, too, it's agreeing to disagree. I enjoy when we can have some, like, for example, if I were to say, Superman is the best superhero. No, Batman is. Tell me why I'm wrong. Let's go back and forth. Let's see. You look like Thulsa Doom, James Earl Jones in his younger days, ready to chop off the head of Conan's mom and send him on the path to glory. Hey, that's cool with me. Being compared to James Earl Jones is not a dig at all. I get everybody from The Rock, Vince Vaughn, Samoans in general. I've been asked if I'm Samoan so many times in my life. If I had $1 for every time I was asked, are you Samoan? It wouldn't be life-changing, but I would have a bigger TV. That's all I'll say like that. Superman is the ultimate Nepo baby. I do love Superman, but he's not my favorite. Spidey is. I keep this. I still have this from the other day. So, folks, again, the Deadpool reviews are in. Now, let's see what else they're saying about Deadpool this morning for Good Morning Pop Culture. Guys, would you like to have a segment on Good Morning Pop Culture for call-ins like we do with the live show that I do on Saturdays? Would you guys like that? Because I'm definitely down to make that happen. It's quite easy, actually. I just need to share the number and have the tab ready, and you guys can call WCBS. And like Clone Geek knows, I answer. I'll talk to you guys. I talked to Clone Geek for 2 hours the other day. That was I can't act like it was a long time and in a bad way. I was like, all right, this is great. We just kind of were talking like we were old friends. I'm quite interested to know how long it would be, how long of a conversation I'd have with some of you guys out there. Like Garth Vader, you've been listening for a long time. I wonder how long we'd talk on the phone. Let's see. I'm Samoan. At least my name is. Well, there you go, Sam Owen. Like everyone else, just pretend you are the cash. I have no attachment to either Deadpool or Wolverine, but I will watch this soon. My attachment to Wolverine is just like more of an adult attachment. Because as a kid, I didn't like Wolverine. I liked Cyclops. And so I was always like, why is Wolverine in the commercials? Why is Wolverine with Spider-Man? Why isn't Cyclops here? He's my favorite. And then I realized Cyclops isn't the lead. He's the leader of the X-Men. He's just not the lead, most popular character. That's kind of why I liked X-Men 97. They established the balance of the book, where Cyclops is the leader and Wolverine is just the cool guy who does shit. But I'll be able to, what was I going to say? Well, I'll be able to like think of Deadpool as what he is. He's just a character that I think is okay. I'm not a big fan of him. I'll wait to see Deadpool on Cheapo Tuesday. By then, the whole movie will be spoiled for me. What's up with the bad review? Woke propaganda, or is it actually bad? See, here's the thing, guys. None of it is woke propaganda, and none of it is the stuff. Like, if you want me to tell you this, it's that the story doesn't work. They say that the story is inconsequential. All of this universe-changing shit that you think is going to happen doesn't happen. And it's an oddly... They say how it's so emotional when it's trying to be funny, too. Like, it's a very imbalanced film. Kind of like how Deadpool 2, everybody complains about the kid, Walter, or is his name Walter, right? It's irrelevant. The reviews talk about how it's just that. It's not, the cameos are fine for the most part. There's one really great one, and they didn't tell you the cameos in the movie. But that is the movie. A lot of it's going to be spent in this, like, wasteland, the end of time. So that's how that's how the reviews are coming in. They're not complaining about, too much women or too many men. I mean, most of these places that you guys would consider woke reviewers are giving it good scores. Like IGN gave it a 7 out of 10. Slightly better than the Acolyte. So they're not really what I'm worried about. I'm just trying to read what people are saying, because I think it would be silly to just blindly only read positive reviews. You got to read both. And I'm getting both. And there's a lot of fun that people are talking about. And I think at the end of the day, folks, don't let anything I say color your perception of seeing this movie. WCBS is always about you having a good time watching said film. But what I want to relay is, at least how I feel about it is, be honest with yourselves and with each other. If you like it, if you have a good time, if it's fun, that's great. That's enough. But if you care about a story and the story doesn't jive with what you're looking for, you can still have a good time, but you can be honest that, oh man, it was hilarious, but it wasn't really logical. It didn't make sense, or it didn't really go anywhere, or I wasn't satisfied. That is all possible. And I agree with David that the only good Deadpool is the first one, but I haven't seen this third one. But I did not like the second one at all. I'm looking forward to Daredevil Born Again. I know that's on Disney, but Daredevil's my favorite character. Daredevil is he used to be my second favorite Marvel character. He's probably been bumped down to third. I do like Wolverine that much, but that's like a later thing because I went back and read the stories. But Daredevil Born Again is my favorite Daredevil story. Flat out. Love it. And Daredevil was one of the last remaining Marvel characters that I would buy and read. Even though it's Mark Waid, I still would buy it because Chris Samnee is a great artist. I love his light and shadow. Something I should study more closely. Yesterday, folks, I was sitting down with the iPad doing my daily drawing, and I have this book. I can't show it, but it's called lighting the body. We'll call it that. Written by Roger Hicks. But my point is it's just bodies illuminated in light and shadow, obviously, but then there's a graph next to it that teaches you how to light the body. So it's a two-for book. It's actually on photography or movie making on how to get the effect, but then there's pictures of it, and then I'm drawing it to learn how to get that effect. Very heavy, stark light and shadow. I would like to introduce that to my work, very much like Alex Toth. I think it's fascinating to look at, and I love taking really detailed things and figuring out how to simplify them, but still make them huge. Deadpool 2 was worth it because of the Juggernaut. That scene is pretty funny. And I don't love Zazie Beetz Domino, but I didn't hate her. Just, I would rather my characters look like the comic book, but it wasn't enough for me to go, oh, I'm not watching this. I also think the actress is mildly cute, but that's neither here nor there. Yes, Stan, I like the Juggernaut. He's deep in my X-Men shelf. But the Juggernaut and Mr. Sinister and Magneto, Caliban, I got Mystique. I got a decent X-Men is like the toy line that I get the villains and the good guys. Spider-Man, I got like 100 Spider-Man, but like 2 Doc Ocks, or 3 Green Goblins, or 1 Vulture, 1 Kraven, 1 Venom. That's enough for me. 1 Venom is definitely enough. Sorry. I know some people are like, Captain Rex says, I have yet to get a notification when the show starts. Well, Captain Rex, thank you for telling me. Folks, I always appreciate when you guys tell me how YouTube is not working, because I am amassing a large number of evidence, or a large amount of anecdotes, evidence, things like that, to then get the ball rolling on looking into it, because I don't want to go, woe is me. But I do believe something is off with the back end stuff on our channel, and I'm trying to figure it out, and I have been for a while. I don't want to come off as lazy or like I don't care, because I am passionate about this. This is what I want almost more than anything. Getting a lot, being happy. At YouTube, I'm still on the grind to make sure we get to 200K by the end of this year, and then moving forward, I want us at 1 million, 2 million. Putting in the work is not the effort, but we're doing the work and putting out the videos, and people just aren't seeing them. And that is the problem. And Captain Rex, I know you've been around. You're a member. I know the name beyond the Star Wars connection. So thank you. Always tell me, folks, if there's anything funky that comes from how you get notifications, even if it's minuscule, like, hey, Jeff, I didn't see your video till 5 hours later. I need to know, because it's been like this for a minute, and I want to fix it, because I don't want people to think, like, sometimes people are like, I didn't realize you guys were still around. We've never missed a week of the show. We took off for the 4th of July, but we announced that kind of stuff. We announced when we're going to be away, but, you know, we still go on our trips. We still do our things, and listeners still come and hang out with us. But it's just kind of funky how this platform is. So let's see. David L., thank you very much for your super chat. I would love a conversation between you and EVS on comics. It would be fun. I'm down. Ethan and I used to stream on the High Council every week for years. Talked to him over private messages a few months back, just seeing how he was and stuff like that. We talked back and forth. He invited me on Trashcast. I couldn't make it because of a prior engagement, and then I haven't really, neither of us have reached out to say anything because we've both been busy with stuff. But I'd love to talk comics. You got to remember, folks, I understand my place in the comic book creator sphere, but as somebody that knows my history, you know, I can go with the best of them. I can sit and talk about anything with anybody. Now, Golden Age stuff doesn't tickle my fancy as much, but even like a guy like Arlen Schumer, who's very dry and very like matter of the fact about the stuff, I will listen to him talk, because I'm kind of like the leader. Or Palpatine, unlimited power. I want unlimited knowledge. I just want to learn everything I can learn, especially about that medium, because I feel like it helps me become better at what I do, less derivative. Also, comic books, they borrow. So I'm not saying I'm never going to redo a story or anything like that, but how many covers have you seen that are nods? Even Wokebusters, we have a nod to X-Men Days of Future Past. One of my most favorite pieces of art I've ever done here since I've had this channel. I love that. But I would love to have a comic conversation. It just, you know, thank you, Jamie Jackson. I know your post schedule, so I barely missed that. Well, thank you, Jamie. But I would like to have a lot of conversations on comic books with him, with any guy that's worked in the field. If you've been a published artist, I would love to do videos, do work with you, because it's fun for me to entertain the audience, but I also like to get little nuggets of wisdom out of these people so then they can kind of relay it to you and me, but to you guys so you can go, oh, I want to do this. And then maybe you'll just be like me and go, hey, now it's the time to try this and do this thing. And you can make that happen. Let's see. George says Chris Gore said it's good, so if he likes it and critics hate it, it's probably a banger. I have tickets for Saturday evening. Well, George, let me know what you think about it. I hope that it meets your expectations. I will see it tomorrow at 3:00. I'm gonna have a good time with that as well. Now let's see. I used to never get notifications until maybe a few weeks ago. Now I get them, all of them, including this stream. Okay, Stan. There we go. So things are see again too. Some of this data is good for me because if I can figure out what I was doing differently, then I can use the system for my own gain the way they completely fair. I've never bought bots or done that kind of dumb shit. So Georgian says Domino's distinct trait was her albino skin and black eye patch over her eye. Ryan Reynolds couldn't even get that right despite saying he wants to be true to the comic books. I guess that was my way of saying it's two things. One, I do think that you should look like the comic book, so I do want that. I guess I was like, well, Zazie Beetz is kind of cute, so I'm whatever. But if it's gun to my head, do I have the choice? I'm going to make it look like the comic book. Now, that doesn't mean like when I do Spider-Man, I'm going to do the Ditko drapery under the arms because it does look like a tablecloth underneath his arms when he stretches them out. But I do like some of the modernization. Like I think the Raimi suits look great in the movie. That's how you modernize that stuff. But I also like, here we go. We're finally getting Wolverine in the suit. In the yellow suit after all these years, we're getting it on film. How do you feel about this, guys? I do wish it was sleeveless, like in the comic book. Now, I read that Hugh Jackman has skin cancer issues, so they covered up his arms, and it doesn't look bad, and it doesn't detract. But to me, like, every Wolverine figure I have, except for, well, I don't have the one where they all share the same yellow and blue uniform, and I don't have the X-Force, he's got his arms uncovered. Yeah, every Wolverine figure I have has his arms exposed. Yeah, the backlash stuff is crazy. That'd be like saying the woman in not Frozen, not Taken, Wicked. I knew it was one word. Like, she's clearly a black lady they painted green. Same with Zoe Saldana. If the whole point of this is equality, why shouldn't an actor wear skin makeup? It's not a race thing. It's like, this role requires this. You're talented. We like it. Now we got to make you look as close to the thing as we can. There's no that when you talk about a woke society, that's the shit that falls into it. You're like, we are so obsessed with stupid crap because we don't have the greater external threat anymore. Yeah, we have an election that we're focused on here, and yeah, we have economical issues, but we don't have this like great thing like a war or this or that people really have to get over their own personal biases and fight together. We don't have that right now. And so we focus on the minutia. We go on and on about this crap. It's like, hey, guys, let's stop focusing on the dumbest thing and we'll get along. But, you know, it is what it is. Damn it, that's one. I left you a Dark Horse link to Lone Wolf and Cub on X. Thank you very much, Jettison Guy. I'll check it out. I'm going to give it I have a system, folks. I check out the comic book on this website I use. But if it's produced by independent or not Marvel or DC and I like it, I will buy the trade paperback or find the issues. I am very into supporting the comic art form. But not buying a Marvel or DC book does not hurt anybody. Oh, what about the artists? What about their royalties? The guys that I'm buying, they're reading their books online for free are all dead. Their families aren't getting any money. This isn't a work for hire for generations. It's like when John Romita passed away, you know, Marvel still owns all of his artwork. So I will check it out, but I'll also make sure that I, you know, support it appropriately. I don't want to come off as a hypocrite. Hey, folks, buy my books, but don't buy other people's stuff. Support everybody. But remember, like, to buy the Jack Kirby edition of a book, his estate isn't getting money. His estate isn't getting, you know, the couple bucks. So don't worry if you read Fantastic Four number 50 for free online. Stan Lee's dead. He can't complain about it. And if he was alive, he probably wouldn't give a shit. Sorry. I didn't, yeah, you know what? Everybody has their own show, the way they operate. Me, I'm cool with everybody. I don't play the games. That's just not how I operate. I treat people the way they treat me, good or bad. And so if you're excellent to me, you will always be in my friend group, and I will always treat you with that respect. So, you know, I'm Switzerland. That wouldn't affect me. It would be the way I'm going to do it. So even in the X-Men fighting games, his arms are sleeveless. I don't care as long as his suit isn't blue. There's no reason Wolverine couldn't have the black and tan costume all of his previous movies. No, there isn't a reason why. I like the brown suit. It's it's part of my collection. I got 2 or 3 of the figures, but I don't like it enough to get the high-end doll or the Mafex. Like brown suit Wolverine is very good in the comic to me, but red and yellow and blue Tiger Stripe Wolverine is a guaranteed purchase. It's about what you see as a kid, burned in image. Like X-Men #1 is not burned into my brain because he wears the brown suit in that book, but the cartoon is. And very quickly, Jim Lee has him in the yellow and blue suit. So it's, to me, they're both equally important. And on the page, I don't really care. But in the physical, I do like the yellow. Yeah, it is a joke, Pokemon fan. Some of these are a joke as well. Avocado Molotov, thank you very much. You guys are all the reason for it. So I'd like to say, oh, it's all me. No, it's us. We did it together. I know I made the book and brought it to you guys, but you wanted it. You were hungry for it. And now everybody's going to get it. And we're going to do a lot more projects in the future. Stealing Solo 2 is on the way. But I don't want to take away from people's excitement for Wokebusters. And then when it's out, folks, the good thing about this is now that we've crossed our goal, we can get enough books to do a store in the future, do the con run. I was never going to cut corners. It was always just going to be a smaller production run. Now everybody's going to, like, everybody can get one within reason. And now once that print run sells out, and I do believe it will, because this is a situation, Stealing Solo got out there, and now that it's on a website, people buy it, almost every day. Wokebusters getting out there will be a similar thing. But I always want to stress, guys, like, thank you for making it happen. I try to keep any ego out of the art. I just feel lucky that I get to do it, and I'm lucky that, people are that hungry for it. Now, the brown suit screams Canadian. Do I have any local comic book stores that I'd like to shout out? I found one near me that hosts card games and TTGs every weekend, or every week. Local stores by me, I'll give a shout out to Rock and Rooster Comics, to Comic Book World, to Road to the Past Collectibles. Why, they changed their name, but the guy was great that owned that store. The Toy Department, there's a bunch. I'm going to some of these places to film content. That's going to be something you're going to get from us very, very soon. I'll support good stuff. Indie artists make gay cowboys eating pudding. Well, Dirk, I can make you a guarantee that I will never have gay cowboys eating pudding in my comic books. I don't find that kind of funny. Like, to poke at people, I'm looking for, like, the kind of comedy that would come from an 80s movie where it's like raw and funny and it hits and everybody gets the joke. And sometimes you laugh at it because you go, should I be laughing at this? Is that too much? Should I go that far? Yes. That's exactly how I push it. But it's not the flip side of, like, the provocative, let's show 2 guys kissing and do this because it's funny. It's like, that's the kind of humor that's funny to some, uncomfortable to most. And I don't revel in that. Like, I don't like making my audience uncomfortable. I'll make you tense. I'll make you nervous. I'll make you scared. But I don't want to make you uncomfortable because there's a dude in tidy whities with his junk in the camera. Like, that is not my brand of art. My brand of art is to take the absurd, to break it down into something clean and refined. And I don't mean clean as in language. I mean clean as in, like, the art. I don't do scratchy, sketchy stuff. And how to present a nice, colorful image that sometimes intentionally will clash with the tone for humor. So, and then sometimes I will amp it up, like with Stealing Solo 2. I'm amping up the dramatic flair. Like Mark Hamill in that book is the Joker, essentially. There are lightning bolts when he appears in the room, like a storm. That's to me where the humor lies. I don't really want to watch, and the thing is, I'm not uncomfortable and I'm not against people that want to make it. It's just not for me. That's all I'm saying. Blindly supporting indie artists gets you comic books about fat lesbians riding motors or bicycles. I don't have anyone riding bicycles in my stories. I'm sorry, folks. If you are a health enthusiast, there are no bicycles in Wokebusters or Stealing Solo. Is it like Eddie Murphy comedy? More along those lines. I really love that 80s. I'm working on something too, folks, and I'm not ever going to tell you until and it's not a project. It's a style, and not an art style, a writing style. And no one else is doing it. And so I'm taking these two styles and I'm blending them together, but I'm doing it in a very particular way. I'm distilling what makes each one of these things unique and what makes each one of these other things unique, how to tie it together and create stories that would appeal to this part of it and that part of it. And once I tell you what it is, you're all going to go, oh, I get it, and I'm on board. But until that first story is created in that style is ready, I'm not sharing, because I am very much in competition with everybody. Now, just because I say, hey, go support other independent artists, because I don't want you to go, this guy, I don't like his streams, I'm not going to buy his books. Check out the work. Like, look at what's out there. And if that looks like it's interesting to you, then check it out. I understand that people support everybody based on, personal views. And I'm lucky enough to have so many people that do that with me. And thank you. But sometimes the work is supposed to be the work. And also, too, everybody's the competition. Meaning, if, I may want to champion your success, but I'm not going to give you my ideas so you can then take it and make money from my ideas. That ain't happening. I'm much more Clint Eastwood than you realize about certain things. But I am me at the end of the day. Sorry, Dirk. Without the lesbian bicycles, you want a refund. I'm sorry. Let's see. A big turnoff for me in media is when girls trash a guy for being a guy. Yeah, I don't like when people trash each other like that. And I also hate the trope of the angry, bitter woman. Like the woman with a bad personality. She's supposed to be the hero. Like, being unlikable makes you alone. Okay? Just because some angry people made it in Hollywood and now they're going to make the characters like them, that's why your movies fail. Nobody wants to watch you on the screen. You're not that interesting. Sorry. Like, if your sexual identity or your, how your trauma is the most interesting thing about you, go get help for those things, those issues that need help. And stop putting it in art and stop trying to make everyone else the problem when they don't like your crap. Come on now. Yes, we're not going to fall for the banana in the tailpipe. Now I feel like I missed out on fat lesbians riding bicycles. Maybe that would have been the Acolyte season 2. David L says, can we get both of your books on the new campaign? Yes, David, there is an option to get literally everything I've ever done. Every version, every cover. You get 4 Stealing Solo, 4 Wokebusters, 2 Tits and Arts. That's 10. Oh, sorry. 5 Stealing. You get 11 books, I think. Because there's 5 different versions of Stealing Solo. And folks, I have those partitioned off. So when you go to the website, stealingsolo.com, David, you can go ahead and buy Stealing Solo right now. That will get shipped out today. I have it ready, prepared. I keep my cases of books close by. So like our friend Kevin on the chat, he bought a book the other day on a show. And I was like, you know what? It's going to be funny to fulfill this on air. And so, yeah, I just reach over here and here's this copy of Stealing Solo. This is a fresh one from the case. I make sure I go through every one that I send out to make sure. Because remember, these books sit in a box. Gravity. I want to make sure that none of them are funky or have an edge. So it gets the test. I look at it. I make sure it passes. And then it gets put in a board and bag and in a safe flat mailer and shipped out to you that day. So if you really want to get Stealing Solo, you can get it quickly. I will keep offering multiple book tiers in the future just for you guys so you can get everything until they run out. And Stealing Solo probably won't make it through the Stealing Solo 2 era. That's about it. There's that few. We're down to 5 boxes, and each box, 34 books. So we're not talking tons and tons of books. We are talking a limited number. And the last couple of weeks, man, I'll tell you this, The Acolyte might have been a garbage show that nobody liked, but it was very good for us because people were hungry for something they like with Star Wars associated. It's not even a Star Wars book. It's a parody. It says it on the cover, but people like the story. And it features us as kidnappers. So I had fun with that. But David, thank you for that. And folks, like I said, down the road, I will offer Stealing Solo as a trilogy. I want to do a leather-bound edition with a not holographic, with a foil inlay cover, and it'll look like the old Laserdisc set. And then it'll pull out, it'll have a slipcover, like a hardback slipcover, and in that will be a double-sized Stealing Solo trilogy with a hardback cover, and it'll have foil on that version too. I might do like the racing stripes again, and it'll say Stealing Solo the trilogy with that. And I might get like I might do a piece of art where we get it made into a foil inlay on the front. We're getting to that point. We're moving to where we can do some higher art stuff. Let's see. Will Stealing Solo 2 have a Mark Hamill figure in the pack type edition cover? No obligation to answer. Oh, that's the kind of stuff I will share. That's not like a secret thing. That's like a cover idea. I am playing around with it. I want to do that. I want that to be the theme of every cover. But the thing about Stealing Solo that I don't ever advertise, one of the themes of the book is literally he is trapped in this role and he can't get out. He's seen as a character, an action figure. He wants to break the mold as an actor. So that's kind of one of the meta narratives of this book. And the joke is he's like literally trapped, being forced, held captive to do the thing he hates the most. Like he'd rather die than do that. But it's I want to do the toy edition. And you know what? I probably will, because I did it for Wokebusters. There's a toy cover there where I do it like the Kenner toy. I got the front and the back all lined up, same color, everything. I even had my guy, I'm like, hey man, this needs to look like a painted thing. So I'm sending you over pencils. We're not going to ink it. We want it to look a certain way. And he got it right. So that was all of those things are taken into consideration. I too want to make my bicycling lesbian story. Fat lesbian's riding a bicycle, say her name, and she appears. I believe in Leslie Hendry. If you're a wrestling fan, you should be believing in Joe Hendry. Do I mix Jurassic Park and Godzilla? Is it weird? Do you guys do it, or do you pick one? For toys, I would blend them together. I'm more of a Godzilla fan than I am a Jurassic Park fan. I don't have anything bad to say about Jurassic Park, but I love Godzilla. Jurassic Park is just a fun experience. I will put it on every other year, maybe. Like, it's not a favorite Spielberg film of mine. It's not bad, though. You got to remember, folks, just because I don't consume something a lot doesn't mean I dislike it. There are a lot of things out there that I do hate that I just am like, this is not worth my time. Jurassic Park 3 is one of them. And Fallen Kingdom. Is that the second one? Or is that Lost Empire? I can't remember the names. I didn't think the last Jurassic Park was particularly terrible. It just was, It was a movie. David L says, ha ha ha, Jeff said pull out. Ha ha. I did say pull out. I say pull out way too much. They say pull out a lot in Star Wars. Well, that's why I don't have kids. Oops. No, I don't want children yet. I do want them, but I want to get a little more established with this. It's working. So why add something that would make it more difficult to achieve your thing? Now, once I find the right woman and stuff like that, I'm not going to keep putting stuff on hold and make somebody wait. But I'm also not going to rush out. Not this year. I'm not going to try to have a baby. I don't want a child for the next couple years. Needs cover art. Frozen Hans, Harrison Ford kissing the corpse of Carrie Fisher like the ESB VHS cover. Garth, that might be a Franken Fisher cover. That could be an alternate one for sure. I do know what I'm doing, though. You remember the old movie poster for The Bride of Frankenstein? That's going to be the basic cover. Now, I work with a publishing company, and they gave me some ideas, and they said, Jeff, have you ever considered hiring Dave Dorman to do a cover for you? And I thought, no, that's a great idea. Now, obviously, that's a couple $1,000s, but that is something I have considered, having Dave Dorman do a cover. Maybe it'll be for like the final edition. Maybe I'll hire him if he's available. We'll commission him to do the Stealing Solo final edition that'll be on the hardback book, and it'll have like that art featured in that. That is the way we should go with that. But I'll tell you this, Garth. I could do a zombie kissing a frozen hair. I can't believe the crap that comes out of my mind. But you guys love it, so thank you. Good morning, Canadian Collector. Happy to have you on the stream. Xavier to God. Jeff, if you watch DBS, it's a period piece that takes place 4 months after the Boo Saga, before the 10-year time skip to the end and before GT. I think I was aware of that, and I'm open-minded to it. I think my problem was I didn't enjoy the new art style. They were too thin, and the new coloring, the computer-based stuff, it looks a little off to me. Maybe I just got to get used to the look, because Dragon Ball Z is such a rich visual, and I have a certain way of it burned into my brain. But Xavier to God, I also told my friend I would watch it with him, so I kind of want to wait. Mark Hamill has become the antagonist in real life. I agree. The new Jurassic Park movie is supposed to be a horror movie. Isn't Scarlett Johansson in it? She's a solid actress. Check it out. The Power of Force Big Chested Edition with WCBS 72 figure carrying case. Could you guys imagine if I did make it like a toy carry? We can be successful, so we'll make accessories about toys and not the real toys themselves. That would be... I once joked when I was in college, my friend's like, oh, about your dream of being a comic book artist. I said, my worst nightmare is to make it big and only work at DC and never get to go to Marvel. That was like my old nightmare. I was like, oh man, yeah, do Batman and Superman, all these iconic stories, but you never get to draw Spider-Man or Daredevil, not Deadpool. I don't care. Deadpool is easy. It's literally a circle. Then the eyes are little slits with a bigger circle around them, and then you add the little lines for the brow, and that's Deadpool. Like, Rob Liefeld created a very basic character. Good for him. Let's see. Leighton Swallow likes the idea as Jurassic Park horror. I think your icon at least, would definitely line up for that. You came in that thing, you're braver than I thought. Not about Jeff. That is my favorite meme ever. It's a picture of Princess Leia saying, you came in that thing, and then it cuts to the replicant from Blade Runner, and then it's you're braver than I thought. I'm like, God damn, that's cold. I absolutely love that. Just Joe, I watched Raw last night. I saw that clip. You want to see me react to DBZ episode 5? I can make that happen. Yeah, folks, in the chat, tell me some of the more raunchy Star Wars quotes, and I'll read them before we go. We're going to go today before noon, because my goal with Good Morning Pop Culture is to never overlap with the side scrollers. I want you guys to check out their show. It's great. I do want to tell you too, guys, I checked out that anime, Jack White. That's the name. Sorry, I almost said Just Joe. He's here in the chat. But I'll get a lot of super chat recommendations about anime. And I want to let you guys know that I do actually watch the shows. Because last night he mentioned a thing called Banished from the Hero's Party. I decided to live a quiet life in the countryside. I was like, what the hell is this? This can't be real. So I actually went and watched it last night. That's me watching it on my TV. I didn't want to tweet this out late at night because it would seem like I'm watching weird anime, and I don't want to get that kind of perception on me. But I do watch what you guys recommend. This one was weird enough that I'm intrigued. We'll see where it goes. Good morning to you, Carl. Yes, it's very late, but still morning in most parts of the country. Let's see. Some of the lascivious or raunchy Star Wars quotes we got. Get in there, you big furry oaf. I don't care what you smell. Get in there and don't worry about it. I feel like that'd be Princess Leia saying that to Han Solo. Don't care what you smell. Get in there. Ooh, that really... Let's not talk about her in that regard. Ew. Banished from the Hero Party is genre. I noticed that. Well, I watched the one about the apothecary guy, and I'm like, okay, is his superpower going to be that he's really smart and that it's valuable to have intelligence over just brawn? Maybe. Anime is very, very much the same to me. Underpowered character in a world with powered people, and it's about raising their power level to be seen for their own intrinsic value. Like Dragon Ball Z is the same shit. It's just about every anime is about power. It's funny how in Western movies, we get these woke movies that are about power, power, power. Oh, we don't like this man because he's too powerful. We got to stop with this crap. We got to take somebody down because they're powerful. If they're doing bad shit, that's bad shit. Morally speaking, you want to take down the bad guy because you don't want him to be, getting away with that crap. But what that trope is oh, we hate powerful people. It's so dumb. David L., thank you for your super chat again. He says, dress Luke in drag for the cover. At least it will fit the narrative. I will make fun of him in a much better, meaner way. You got to remember, folks, the way you can beat these people isn't about sometimes hitting them with their own medicine. Sometimes it's about hitting them in a way that is so fucking hard to the chest that they don't have a retort. So I could make fun of Mark Hamill and put him in drag because of his social comments. Or I could make a joke about how he's been living in the shadow of Harrison Ford for 50 years and really hit him hard because the whole point of the story is this mofo is chasing fame. And even in death, this guy is more successful than him. And the lengths he will go to because he's so desperate to be seen as an equal to somebody that he is not. That is more impactful and more truthful, and that will hit him in a way that he'll go, I don't like that. I don't like that story. Of course you're not going to like that, man. It doesn't exist to make fun of you personally and hurt you. It's to make fun of the situation in a way that other people will not do. I'm not afraid of telling you those elements of Stealing Solo because here's the thing. I made the book. It's my franchise. That's my series. Yes, Tits and Art is also my series, but, we'll get to the Book of Booty later. But don't worry, Luke or David L. We will make fun of him in a really, really good way. And how celebrated voice acting is all just the same voice. The Hobgoblin and the Joker have the exact same voice. I don't think this would fit in the story, but I'm coming up with it, so if I use it later, it is mine. But imagine, never mind, that actually will fit in the story. Well, no, if I put, sorry, when you're on the air and you're watching me, you're thinking, like, shouldn't this guy always be focused on the show? Yes, I'm always focused on the show, but sometimes creativity strikes. And you gotta write this shit down. That's why I keep a notebook next to me at all time. That's something I picked up from Jack Kirby, because I had heard that he couldn't even drive because his mind would always be focused on these stories. And no, I don't put myself in a dangerous situation, but like if I'm eating by myself or I'm doing something in the day that's not channel related, I will get lost in my story ideas. Scott Dove says, yes, truth. Anime has a very specific trope. And that is why, Scott, I believe a certain type of person really gets into it because they relate to those types of characters going on this journey to become more powerful. It's very much something that's rooted in everybody, but in a different way. You can argue that Superman's the power fantasy, but some of the more Western characters, you see yourselves in them in different ways, not as literally as you do in anime. Some of the meek, shy characters that go on to be more powerful. You got Dweeby Peter Parker, but he's not relatable to everybody. But everybody likes Spider-Man. They like the fantasy element of getting away from their lives, covering their face, and being the hero. We all want to be the hero. Ooh, I ordered RoboCop 2 in 4K. I'm willing to give it another chance. 3, not so much. Yeah, I'm not into that at all. The jetpack, it's kind of like the TV show. I'm just not into that. So the reviews are not that great. GameSpot gave it a 4 out of 10. I think it was, who else gave it a 5 out of 10? I still got the JLo tab open. Cool. Who gave it a 5 out of 10? Slash Film gave it a 5 out of 10. Deadpool and Wolverine is full of flat filmmaking and even flatter jokes, but Hugh Jackman's return as Wolverine is great. So again, it sounds like it's going to be the situation where it's got all the, it's like a pizza. Some pizza is better than other pizza, but overall, people just like pizza. They're happy to eat it. So if I brought you a frozen pizza, but I put the world's finest cheese on it, it's still a frozen pizza, but it's got great cheese. You're like, ooh, this is delicious. But if you really think about it, you're like, yeah, I've had better pizza, but this cheese is that good on it, so I got to keep saying it's the best. My food analogies are terrible. I'm sorry. I make myself hungry. I try to I intermittently fast every day. I eat about 1 o'clock. But when I talk about food on these streams, I really all of a sudden get very hungry. Last night, I ate a thing of blueberries after the show. I'm like, I'm hungry. I got to eat something. I'm going to be practical and eat something kind of healthy. Let's see. Kendo decides to reprogram the T-1000 in the future and come back and hunt down Bob Iger and Kathleen Kennedy and force the garbage. I mean, I could make Terminegro. That could be like a backstory in Terminegro, because Terminegro is happening. All of it. It's funny. I want to do superhero stuff. I want to do I do want to draw Spider-Man one day. I don't care how woke Marvel is. I'm not going to let my dream get brushed aside because the world got crappy. That Spider-Man will stick around forever. There will be a day when it's solid again, or it'll get so bad that nobody wants to work on it, and I'll just kind of put my foot in the door and be like, I'm here. But I don't think the character will ever fall off like that. He's an institution. He means a lot to people like me. I mean, I may not be buying the comic books, but I got a hot toy. Here's my Spider-Man mug with my John Romita art. Come on now. But Terminegro, what I'm getting at is we'll probably have our own line of comic books that are very crazy, but very different. And you guys are there for it. Let's see. Xavier to God, thank you very much again for another super chat. I appreciate you, my man. He says, Jeff, the only thing about Super is that it has retcons and it has retcons and didn't animate the whole Super manga. So there's 2 parts of the story that didn't get animated. Oh, well, again, this is all news to me because I've only watched the first part of that. But I'm going to wait for my buddy Phil because I did kind of promise him that we'll watch Super together. But I'll see if he still has the time for that. If not, I'll check it out in the free time, or in my free time. This superhero thing that I'm working on is more anime inspired than I'm willing to let on, but not for the art and not in the way you think. I'm like, you know how there's food scientists where they break down the molecules of why this works and this and the Browning and the Maillard effect? I'm like that with comics. I look at stuff and I go, all right, here's my big comic book board. At the top is Dragon Ball Z. So we got characters, conflict, story tropes, and, outside influences. And when you break those down, you kind of see Dragon Ball Z, Star Wars, and so many other things are some of their parts. Dragon Ball Z is a very Chinese influence. I know it's Japanese, but it has a very, Journey to the West influence, because that's what Dragon Ball very much is. And then it's got sci-fi elements from Ridley Scott. Anime and manga is very much just inspired. It's weird how popular it is because a lot of it is just Japanese versions of Western things. There's so many characters that are like the Terminator. There's so many things that look like xenomorphs. There's so many things out there that are just ripped from Western culture. And then people like the Japanese version, and then it comes back out over here, and I'm like, oh, that's the same as this. So that's the interesting dilemma I see with a lot of the anime influence in America. I've never seen a bad Hugh Jackman performance either. I've never seen the pirate movie or the one where he's the greatest showman, but I don't like musicals. Now, if this was a Deadpool musical, I would just not go. Thank you, Cutthroat Comics, for the kind words. Yeah, folks, what I always try to tell you is watch the movies for yourself. Watch my reviews. Check out what I got to say. And when I do a Deadpool review, I'm going to do spoiler-free first. And then I'll do a spoiler review. But, I got to get people to watch the channel. I want you guys to check out what we do. But always make up your own mind. You can come here. Any diehard fans, you guys are great. And if you were to tell me, hey, Jeff, I really like The Last Jedi, I might make a joke or a barb, but I wouldn't really care. I'd be like, fine. You like it, you like it. I like Home Alone 3. Nobody's perfect. Home Alone 3 is a guilty pleasure movie of mine. And I'm not going to act like I didn't enjoy it as a kid. And when I watch it as an adult, I just go, this is not as bad as I remember, or as bad as people say. I had no idea. I thought there would be a Lethal Weapon Beverly Hills Cop crossover comic from Dion and yourself. I have an idea for a comic, but I could never sell it for copyright reasons. But it would literally be the fishing picture from Beverly Hills Cop. They went to Florida for that. When they're on the fishing trip, they run into some smugglers and Crockett and Tubbs. And so Axel, Taggart, Rosewood, and Bogomil is there. They're trying to stop these cops, or this drug ring. But they get, basically, Miami Vice mistakes them for drug lords or criminals. And they find out that they're all on the same team. And then they team up to fight, Like maybe we'll write a fifth character that went on the fishing trip. The guy that took the photograph gets killed by the drug guys, the drug runners. So we're gonna have to have a way for them to be motivated to not just go, all right, Vice, we're gonna let you have it. This is your jurisdiction. No, we need Axel and Billy and Rose, or Billy and Taggart and Bogomil, because he's there in the photo, to really have a reason why. That is my dream crossover. Now, another one would be Axel goes out in 1987. Well, we have to follow the timeline, I guess. I guess it would be in. Here we go. In Beverly Hills Cop 2, it shows Axel leave. It shows Axel go to the air. Well, it's just he says goodbye to the people as he drives away. Imagine if on the way to the airport, instead of going home, something happens and he gets stuck. Maybe he's stopped by a police barricade because there's this crime. And, you know, Riggs and Murtaugh are on the job, but Axel, being Axel Foley's like, I got to see if I can help. And then the thing gets out of hand, and Billy and Taggart show up because, you know, they call all units, even though Beverly Hills and LA are slightly different. They all get called to the same event. Maybe Axel's like, maybe it's like a story that takes place over a day. They're on the clock. Like, we got to do this thing. I'm just trying to tie it in because we watched part 4 and the timeline is what it is. But Terminegro is a thing. We've joked about it. A black Terminator who would go back in time to stop the assassination of Martin Luther King. Like, we came up with that on the show. It wouldn't, you got to remember though, too, and I want to make this crystal clear. You can make black stories and parody black stories, and it ain't woke. The Wayans, those movies aren't woke. Scary Movie's not woke. White Chicks isn't woke. I'm going to get you, sucker. How to drink juice, or Don't Be a Menace to South Central while drinking your juice in the hood. Those aren't woke movies. They're black parody movies. Now, they're black movies, and you can say it. I can say it. But they're not like a Jordan Peele type of black movie where it's like, oh, you went from being funny to, oh, you're actually mildly a racist dick, and this is what you believe, and you're trying to put this shit out there, and like that fucks up people. And I know you're thinking, are people that stupid? Yeah, they are. Believe me, any kind of messaging in a movie can influence people. There is something about what you watch on the screen, and you take it as fact because you're conditioned to, well, the news is the news. Those are just facts. They're not going to lie to me on TV. Oh, this movie is just for entertainment. They're not going to do anything more nefarious. That's in there. And so I just wanted to put that out there. Like, we wouldn't have a story about, like, if we do that as the story, it's not going to be about, oh, the world's terrible after this terrible crime. It would be played up for laughs. And ultimately, I think the Terminegro would have to fail. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the kind of story we would tell. But we'd also have multiple Terminegro stories. It might be like a series of vignettes. Because I thought it'd be funny to have like the Terminegro go back and like infiltrate Napoleon's army, or like go back to like the Turk-Ottoman War. Like, it looked really obscure shit to have this like black dude in leather appear and fight alongside all these things. And then at the end of the story, hell, we might even have like here we go. Here's how it'll start. The modern day. Egyptian archaeologists are inside of a pyramid, this new tomb they've discovered in a pyramid. And on the wall, on the carving, they have all these hieroglyphics. And then there's one of a black guy in a leather outfit. And you're like, how is the Terminegro back in the past? And all, you know, that kind of funny shit. There was a Home Alone 3. There's like 5 Home Alones, dude. There's way too many. The reason I know about it so well is I had a stepdad who was a truck driver, and we would go around the country. And so summer of 98, he's like, hey, we're going to do this cross-country road trip. We're going to go to California. We're going to do a bunch of stuff. I'm going to buy a new TV. So he went to H.H. Gregg to buy a television. And he's like, look, to the guy's like, I'm going to buy this. Can you throw in a movie for me or something for the kid? And I picked Home Alone 3 because I had seen the commercials. And then I went home and I watched it and I loved it. I watched that movie a ton. Because I would always watch like Raiders or Star Wars or these classics, but I wasn't always watching the newest stuff, even as a kid. I'm always so fascinated by like, to me, the age of a movie is irrelevant. If it's a good story, it's a good story. I liked The Maltese Falcon or Casablanca. I like Bogart movies. I like black and white noir. I like horror that's from the 50s. I like all kinds of things. Obviously, the channel wouldn't get 1 million views if I made videos about The Creature from the Black Lagoon, you know, and what a beautiful piece of art the suit is. It'd be fun for a short. Terminegro fails due to AI failing to differentiate. Oh my God, Dirk McGurkin. That is the best concept ever. I'm going to at least read that to the guys. That's fucking harsh. I love it. Well, that's what it is on screen. Now that is the type of humor that I would think is funny as shit. But so many people would be offended. Like, Dion would probably be like, you can't do that. Why? Because it's too funny? Come on, man. Thank you there, Durkin. David L. Is Beverly Hills Cop Axel Foley good or bad? I want to watch. Does it suck? Well, David, thank you for asking. You can watch the video review that I give you a general idea of the film. I thought it was great. I loved it. Beverly Hills Cop 1 is the best. Then 2, then 4, and 3 is somewhere on the ground. I did not like 3 at all. Beverly Hills Cop 4 has a lot of stuff going for it, and I highly recommend you watch it yourself. It's got great action. Eddie Murphy's on point. He's the best part of the movie, and that's what the most important thing is. He's great. The music's great. The other acting is very good. Like, I never thought Judge Reinhold was going to win an Oscar, but he is Billy again. The only character that felt off is Taggart. Other than that, the new characters are great. Kevin Bacon does a great job as this bad guy, and I don't want to spoil anything for you. Joseph Gordon-Levitt, another great addition to the cast. And I liked his daughter. I thought the daughter looked enough like she could be Eddie Murphy's daughter, but she carried herself in a way that was believable, that she could bounce the barbs off of him left and right. If the Terminegro ends up frozen in space, he can be written into anything. Oh, the Terminegro is kind of like a forever character. Now, I would never do the joke he goes back in time to the Jesus age, because they did that on Mad TV. But like Terminegro, I've also thought of a series about what I would do with a time machine. But that would be a topic for another time. Let's see. Tastier back in the 80s says Beverly Hills Cop Axel Foley is good. It's worth your time. Thank you for backing me up on that one. Captain Rex says, I like part 4. Taggart was just hard to look at. I agree. The Real Zeal says Kevin Bacon was a great villain. So yeah, here on Good Morning Pop Culture, this audience likes Beverly Hills Cop 4. Now again, if you don't, there's nothing wrong with that, but I highly recommend it. I had so much fun with it. And I listened to the Axel F version that's in that movie all the time. Yesterday, after I was getting back from dinner and just kind of like celebrating the Wokebusters, crossing its line. Because see, folks, I don't have the time to go out and celebrate yet. And I know I sound boring as hell, but on Prime Day, I bought some shelving and some stuff. So when the campaign closes this week, I won't be going out to my celebratory brunch. I won't be going out to do all these crazy things. I'm going to go build some shelving so I can finish my movie setup in the living room and, have more space in this place as I prepare for the house 2026. I'm making it happen. Stop killing Judas, says Jamie Jackson. See, now this is what I'm talking about. Sending him back to like the colonial days or sending him back to the Civil War, because it would be very much like it would pretty much be like a parody of time. Like we'd be lampooning historical events with the Terminegro, and it wouldn't necessarily be like a black perspective. I think that's what people got to remember with me is I don't really come at anything from a certain skin color perspective. I just see myself as a person. Even when I was a kid, people would be like, what color are you? I would respond with, I'm me. I didn't really know what that meant as a young age. And my mom taught me, from a very early age, you're who you are, your values, what you bring, how you operate in the world. That is more of how I see things too. Like, just because you have a black character doesn't mean it's about blackness. Independence Day is about humanity. It does not matter that Will Smith is black and that Jeff Goldblum's character is Jewish. By today's lens, you could call Independence Day a woke movie for being so diverse. But that movie does it right, because it doesn't matter that the hero of the world is Jewish. It matters that the hero of the world is the smartest guy. That's what the value is, his intelligence. Will Smith, doesn't matter that he's black, that he's with Vivek A. Fox. He's the best fighter pilot, and he's got reflexes that will man an alien ship. He outraced an alien. That's the kind of shit you go on about. It's so diverse to a fault, but it's also not woke or hokey. It's Independence Day, and it's pretty damn awesome. Butter Me Seeks, that's more of the story I would like to tell. He goes back to stop the Tupac assassination, the Biggie Smalls assassination. Let's There we go. I'm going to take a screenshot of that. As a biracial person, Jeff, never. Thank you. Never. I'll say like this as a joke, ironically, like certain things, but I mean, I've experienced things, but does that really color my perception? You ever watch this show and go, Jeff is angry about, this thing? No. Thank you, Tastier back in the 80s. And yes, Freddie, it wasn't preachy. And Durkin, yeah, I'll talk to the guys about this one too. I definitely want to do something with Lincoln. Oh, yeah, it should be the Lincoln assassination, not the Martin Luther King one. That's the type of story, like that would have to be like 50 issues of Terminegro down the road, because people then would mistake it as that kind of a book. And you can't go out of the gate thinking, oh, it's this preachy black story about how we can revise history and blah, blah, blah. No. Remember when they changed Cleopatra and we were all like, this is stupid? It would be equally dumb for me to operate like that. Darian 217, I don't get angry about the destruction of Star Wars anymore. I just monetize it into a very successful book. You know how they used to say monetize your haters? I don't monetize my haters. I monetize the things that broke my heart. And I go, you know what? No more. Now it's time to take off the gloves and make fun of you. Let's see what's popping up here in the chat. A lot of people. Terminator accidentally kills Bill and Ted. I would love to do one where he accidentally wrecks into Marty McFly. Hold on a second. The Terminegro could meet the Time Lord, because I don't think that's copywritten. And the Time Lord is this black guy. And the Terminegro has to fix the timeline because the Time Lord changed himself and it ruined everything. And now the world is worse. The Terminegro has been sent back in time to keep Doctor Who from regenerating into a woman or black. There we go. There's the story I came up with off the top of my head. Come with me if you want to live, Mr. Lincoln. That might be in the story. See, guys, this is what happens when we create a cool environment that can foster creativity and an awesome audience of people who want to make those creative things happen. Thank you again for Wokebusters. I'm never going to stop saying thanks. I know it's redundant, but nobody's happier than me. I get it. A lot of you out there are like, yeah, I'm going to get my book. Yeah, I helped. And I couldn't have done it without you guys. But now I feel like the balance has been restored, and here we go. I can't wait to hear what you guys think of it. He has to say Harambe. Could always do a Harambe story. That's the key. Folks, it wasn't the election. It wasn't this. It was nothing that ruined the world except the death of Harambe. That is the one moment, like the Haktua girl, who's no longer relevant. By the way, real quick, let me just take a side. And that's what I enjoy about this stuff. Can you believe how quick her fame died? Like, she brought this odd message to the world of, yes, spit on it. Every guy's like, yeah, all right, I like her message. I like her brand. But now real world shit has happened, and we don't have time for our summer meme. It's like the Haktua girl. Okay, we got to worry about the world falling apart. The Terminator goes to India and fights, and later teams up with the Turbinator. It's like we create this incredibly. The thing is, it would be like well written and well illustrated, but everyone's like, man, this is racist as shit. Like, no, this is diverse as shit. That's kind of like, again, I don't want to tie everything back to Wokebusters, but it's not a story about my skin color. We don't ever. There's this thing that can turn people into monsters or trigger people. And so remember how in Ghostbusters 2, the guys start fighting with each other and the toaster pops up and down with the emotion reactive slime. We have something in that like changes our personalities, and we all get like triggered and we like yell at each other about being victims. It's really played up for laughs. Imagine if that was like real. Like if I actually wrote crap like that. That's what some of this would come off as. Nat, your average nerd, thank you for joining us. Folks, we're going to be going off the air in just a moment. The Haktua meme is dead, Jeff. What you talking about? I have seen the clips of her. She's at a concert and they introduce her and it's like deadly silent. Terminator is rejected after auditioning for Chewbacca in 1975 and uses his abilities to sabotage the movie. Oh, man. That's what I love about you guys. Many reasons, many things. I'm excited for like 10 projects out. I just got to commit. I got to take Turbo Negro and put that to the side. He might fight the Turbinator and Eric the Red. Maybe we'll have a Viking fight too. That could be the joke. I might do like a short story, like nothing to like sell, but like a backup story where the Turbo Negro teams up with the Turbinator and then a Viking for Kendo. But then the joke, like the meta joke for the podcast is there's like nobody that the Turbo Negro can team up because like nobody has the same background as me and there's no like impactful whatever. So it'll just be like some guy. It'll be like, oh, it's like in Deadpool 2. Was it David Harbour or whoever plays the guy with the mustache? He's just like a superhero. He's on the team and then he dies. That'd be like me. It's like, oh yeah, and then there's, you know, this guy to represent Nick, this guy to represent Dion, this guy to represent Kendo, and we actually put Jeff in the story because there's no one else to go to. Turbo Negro saves JFK so the Civil Rights Act may be repealed. Keep bringing the historical pitches. We needed Turbo Negro Enterprises. Turbo Negro versus the Terminator. 7-11 to LA. A 310 spoof. 310 to Yuma spoof. Dude, you got some great ideas. Everybody out there, you guys have made this a fun morning. Now, maybe get a Kickstarter for a 3D printer to make Turbo Negro and future WCBS action figures. I never thought that was a possibility. I've always thought of crowdfunding to make a thing, not to crowdfund a thing to make things. That's actually a great idea. I would love to take my designs, hire a ZBrush person, sculpt my designs in ZBrush, and make 3D printed figurines, and then get them painted. In the beginning, we would be very low articulation because it's, you know, we're starting out. But man, oh, here we go. Turbo Negro versus LBJ, 1,000 Years a Slave. Now, I could get behind that one. That would be funny. Now, let me ask you this, guys, so I don't sound crazy. It's 12:01. We are at 1 hour and 52 minutes. Should we make this a nice round 2-hour stream and then keep pushing people towards the side scrollers? Because they've never asked me to do this, but they're a very kind YouTube channel, and I'd like, you know, people to watch their stuff as well. Plus, it'll give me time to prepare for videos. I'm very far behind right now. But this has been our most viewed Good Morning Pop Culture. Every Wednesday is the day that seems to get the most engagement. So I guess we're going to have to prepare for Wednesday as our big day here on this show. We'll do more than on this day. We'll do more segments. We'll do all kinds of things like that. We keep hovering around 300 people. Soon we'll be hovering around 3,000 people. Once I get to that 1,000 a show baseline again, I'll feel excited. But I'm really happy to do this no matter what. 1, 1,000, 1 million. I couldn't imagine streaming to 1 million people. This chat would be nuts. I would have to turn it off because I get easily distracted. Now you're talking. ZBrush is the shit. Terminator can watch over you while you work towards his story one day. Hold on a second. I do have, if this is the right sketchbook, I do have a really, this is super, super rough, but I did start drawing the Turbo Negro as a joke. Like I said, folks, this is in pen. This is not indicative of what, you know, the story looked like, but I started drawing and I was like, wait, that looks a little too much like Dion. But I did start drawing what the Turbo Negro would be because I'm trying to decide, should I give him an Arnold? I think he should have a flat top. He should look like, there's an actor in the 90s who was in a ton of shit. He's like a buff black guy with the sharpest flat top ever. He's in Beverly Hills Cop 3. He's in a ton of stuff like that. He is kind of who I'm imagining is the Turbo Negro. I just thought I could do a Sarah Connor thing. I cannot love you. Never mind. I'll write that myself. Oh, man. So, guys, I just want to thank everybody again for making Wokebusters such a... Thank you. That's all I can say. Tomorrow, we will have our Deadpool review. Deadpool. Yes, a flat top fade. There's a Marvel Legends character. I think it's the Avalanche figure. I should get that figure at Ollie's because he's super. That's what I'll do. I will kit bash a Turbo Negro out of a Marvel Legend, and I'll be like, all right, it's this guy's head, these sunglasses, and I guess he's got to dress like the Terminator, or should he be a little more? He should be dressed as the Terminator from the 1980s, but if he was actually a black guy with 1980s style, trying to like fit in, maybe Miguel A. Nunez Jr.'s character from Friday the 13th Part 5. That's how the Terminator would dress. Maybe a mix of Arnold and Wesley Snipes. Definitely. If this movie was made in the 90s, the Terminator would be Wesley Snipes, like just flat out. Who's going to program all the one-liners, though? Because remember how like the Terminator runs on a directive. If Richard Roundtree was alive, the scientist that programmed the Terminator would just be Richard Roundtree. That's exactly what it would be like. 70s blaxploitation with an afro and sideburns. I thought of that. But if I'm going from an 80s riff, you kind of got to stick with an 80s. Oh, wait, I got it. I know who the Terminator is and he can't sue. It's going to be O.J. Simpson. That's it. That should be who it's designed after. It should just flat out be O.J. Simpson. He's dead. He's an icon. We'll do a parody of him. He was too nice to be a Terminator, but he's not nice enough to not kill somebody, allegedly. So that could be the Terminator right there. O.J. Simpson himself. Dolomite tier pimp leather suit. What was popular? Like, breakdance culture was big in the 80s. Terminator with OJ with a Jerry curl. Maybe there's an issue where the Terminator is out in the desert and the sand gets into his gears and he can't move. So he uses the oil from his Jerry curl. His sidekick will pull out a bottle of Soul Glow and put it in his joints so he can make it through the fucking sandstorm. Oh, I'm gonna write that stupid one down too. This is the little bitty things like this are what make a franchise. And then people were like, "Oh my god, this is crazy! I want more." I do too. I also want my pencil. Here it is. Let me know what you guys think of the. Let's see. OJ is Terminegro. And Soul Glow for the joints. Maybe so remember how the Terminator has to go through there naked? Maybe like when the Terminator goes to the time warp, he's a little rusty, so he pulls out the Soul Glow and starts. Yeah, we'll figure it out. You got to remember, like an element like that has to be in the first appearance. Because when you go back and you watch like the first Spider-Man movie, it's got all the trappings. Like Spider-Man 2 is the best one, but it doesn't introduce too many new things that weren't there in the first. It kind of just elevates them. Same with the character of Spider-Man. In the first book, he's got web shooters. He can cling to walls. The suit is there. The Ant-Man, Uncle Ben are there. It's like so much of the core is there. You got to put that in the first appearance. You got to write a narrative around those things that you want to include with the character. He has to cover himself through Soul Glow to travel through time. Is it to protect your joints? I just don't want to get ashy. No, I can't write a robot with those lines. It would make no sense. Does it have to make sense? No, it just has to be funny. I'm laughing. You're laughing. I think the X-23 family version of Wolverine would be better. Just my thoughts. All right, hold on a second. I think okay, sorry, I missed the first part of that message. I don't really have an opinion on X-23. She was fine in the movie. That actress that played her did a good job. I'm just more along the lines of I like Wolverine himself. Guys, you guys are cracking me up. You guys are cracking me up like this. So he was frozen like in Demolition Man, but still has his body replaced. Oh, yeah. I'm going so literal. It's like it's a robot. We could do it like RoboCop where he actually has his memories. That would be pretty cool. A Terminator inspires Shakespeare to write Othello. Terminator just wants to find his blueprints and maker and has a crossover with thousands of years. And has crossed over thousands of years trying to find them. That's almost like a really deep, dark version of like looking for his dad. Why don't he want me? No, why don't he want me no more, man? I was watching an episode of The Love Boat, and I know the lamest show to talk about. I get it, but I watched an episode of The Love Boat with my mom, and an actor named Ben Vereen was on there. And you might not know the name Ben Vereen, and I don't expect you to, but he's the actor who played Will Smith's dad on The Fresh Prince. And this character that Ben Vereen plays is supposed to be likable. And I kept like thinking in my mind, fuck this. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cuss. I was always trying to be clean for the show, but screw this guy. He's terrible. He left Will Smith. He made him cry. And I'm like, wait a second. That's a character. Don't get mad. And I'm like, oh yeah, it's just this actor. So I had to pull that one back. But folks, thank you for joining us. We are having a great time. Okay, Darth Vader knows Ben Vereen. Yes, he was an awesome dancer. Very great dance number in the episode of The Love Boat. But he's also plays Will Smith's dad. The Terminator is an abandoned child bot from a cyborg orphanage. Now it's sad. You know what I can do down the road once we get Terminator established? We can find out what it would cost to do crossovers with famous robot anime characters. It's like Terminator and Alita Battle Angel. They have a love baby. Both the copyrights held by both companies, but we all love that. We all love that as well. Man, I feel like Doctor Who at the end of his regeneration. I don't want to go. I'm having way too much fun with you guys right now. Yeah, let's see. Terminator travels to stop the making of Terminator Genesis. That would be so important. I don't think Genesis is the worst one, though. Dark Fate is the worst Terminator movie. We should just name something Dark Fate. That's it. Terminator, A Darker Fate. That's the name of the first book. And he'll go back in time to stop the assassination of Lincoln. I can't wait to draw that book. Terminator is going to be like Black Dynamite with time travel. Let's see. He was built young Frankenstein style, but midway someone spilled malt liquor. And some people would say that's offensive. I think it's funny. I swear if we keep going, we'll have this in the bag in 20 minutes. Oh my God, Jettison guy. Yeah, I feel like we got so much of the way there already. It's like, Jeff, you come up with these stories so quickly. What do you guys do? Well, we joke about it on a live show. We brainstorm it out. We tie it together, and then we package it up. He has to fix the Flint water supply. That's a lot of fixing to have to do right there. Genesis erases the OG movies. Dark Fate makes them irrelevant. I'm going to say something that's probably going to get people to unsubscribe. I'm sorry. Terminator Genesis is the only movie with Jai Courtney that I don't want to pull my hair out. I was like, you're not a good actor. You're not good in this role. But this is the one time where I'm just like, I hate you more in other movies. Or maybe, wait, no, that's Captain Boomerang. Sorry. Forget Genesis. I'm glad you guys are liking the ideas that much. There we go. I had to correct myself. I thought I was going to make a mistake. But no. Terminator's first word. What's the word, Thunderbird? I can just see Terminator. The crazy part is I'm going to have to work on one part of my art, and that's that leather texture. I'm going to have to go back and look how maybe Mobius does it, because he's going to be dressed in that biker outfit. No. Okay, folks, in the chat, what do you like? The look of the Terminator, the T-800 from part 1 or part 2? The part 2 is the most iconic one with the glasses and I'll be back in the first movie. But I do like that big gray coat he wears. And I wish I would have come up with the name Tech Noir, by the way. If I could go back and steal a word for myself, Tech Noir would be mine. I think that is the coolest word on the planet, and that bar is neat. I'm going to steal that. I'm going to make a genre called Tech Noir. That's my genre of entertainment. That's the name. Remember how I was telling you I had an idea to cross two things over together? I'll use that name of the genre as Tech Noir. Why? Because I can. The Terminator goes back to stop Obama from becoming president. Not a bad idea. Not necessarily an idea that I would put out in the first 5 years of the book. What would the message be behind that one? Like, if we're actually going to go back and tell that story, like, because the whole, like, Terminegro, they would all be like funny, but they wouldn't be dark funny. They'd be like satirical and sharp, but I'd have to find an angle for him. I think we're going to start broader and then we'll work our way back. Because if we're also talking from business standpoint, Terminegro is a very much like on the wire brand. Like people are going to be like, can I say Terminegro? Is that offensive? I will tell people when I have this book, if you don't say the title, you're racist. I'm not going to ever say that. That's not me. But I'll be like, if you don't say the title, you're the problem. And they'll be like, Terminegro. They'll like whisper it. I'll be like, you know what? We're gonna get people chanting Terminegro at me in public. I wouldn't be offended. I wouldn't be offended at all. Pimp Fur. You remember that scene in Terminator 3 where he puts on the sunglasses to like hide? Maybe I'll do a thing where the Terminegro is like, I need to blend in. And so he puts on the most stereotypical thing, and the joke's that. Oh, you know what we have to do, folks? We just have to send the Terminegro to the 70s. So I think we're going to send him to the 1860s first to save Lincoln. But then we're going to have him go. Maybe issue 5 is when the Terminegro comes to something that's fairly modern again. Because I'd like Terminegro. He goes back in time to save. Well, no, that might really alter. We're not going to worry about how history is altered. I think each issue would end with, and history is altered. The day is saved, though history is altered. The end. Because I thought it could be funny to go back to the Black Plague. He's like, we got to get rid of the Black Plague. Why? Because it gives black a bad name. That's as deep as the joke goes. And so you see, like, oh, I had an idea. I'll save that for later. I like the idea that the Terminator didn't know to clean up in the past, as everyone was filthy in the future. I do like Terminator 1. I think the music's much better in that movie as well. 2024, I need to blend in. Terminegro gets blue hair, gender reassignment pro. That's more along the lines. It's like, that's it. Whatever he has to do in 2024 to save something. That's a very Wokebusters-esque story. Maybe we'll, with a time travel, I could have the Terminator team up with the Wokebusters to take down something else. It's going to be crazy, folks. It'll be like the Avengers. Let's get some Avengers numbers on that book. Wokebusters Terminegro. What about the Stealing Solo guys? Nope. Their story is in another universe. I have thought about, though, and I didn't put it in Wokebusters, I had thought about having a TV in the background, have a picture of something that happened in Stealing Solo, but I thought it would be kind of weird for the audience to go, but those guys are also the Wokebusters. It doesn't make sense. So I thought of the modern world we live in, and I kind of just, didn't do that. Each issue is a one-shot with the same written ending. Yeah. And Poochie died on the way back to his home planet. There we go. How about Terminator traveling to the year 3535? That'll be the end. That'll be the final story. No, you know what I could do, guys? I keep stuff that it might be on brand for the channel, but I don't keep it insular. So anybody that picks up Stealing Solo or Wokebusters will get it. They'll go, oh, I get this story. What I could do is because I do the art, I could write you guys a very, weird Terminegro 3535 story where it brings in sentient kendo and all this crazy shit, and we could either put it on the Patreon and you have access to it, or we could do it in a super limited, guys, I'm getting 100 copies printed type of thing. And then you could actually read that story and print Terminegro in the year 3535. It'd be very much for the channel fans, very small, a much smaller, cheaper book. But we could do that. That's the beauty of comics. It's the beauty of being able to do it yourself. You do it. Like when I do Stealing Solo 2, which I need to make YouTube content. I want us to pass our goal, and I don't want to miss out on some of this. But I'm so inspired. I apologize to people who watch the channel for the content. But after today's show, I'm going to have lunch, and I'm going to write out Stealing Solo 2 and start mapping that out and basically promote Wokebusters. The time is hot, and my creativity is going right now. And I really want to bring you guys more stories. My goal, it will be technically 2 a year for this year, 2024, because I'm really antsy for Stealing Solo. And I'm sitting here at night, I'm studying my brushes. I'm much more competent and confident in my work with penciling because I know how to do more with that. But I'm really working hard to get that classic inking style. And the more I dive into it and just kind of go all right, heavy black here, heavy black there, Certain parts aren't working, but certain parts are. And at the end of the day, I'm figuring out how to do it in my style, and that's the most expensive. Go back to Five Below. I should go to a Five Below. I got Ollie's footage. I'll go to a couple more Ollies and bring you those videos. Terminegro rocks up on a golf club and dresses up to play Chevy Chase and Adam Sandler to find the corporate douchebag that abandoned the funding that didn't finish his programming. That's fucking brilliant. Anytime I can cross over Caddyshack, I need to get big enough to where all these companies will grant me a license to just, I want to play around with your character for this comic book, but then it does, you know what I'm saying? Like, then it's whatever. That would be cool. Like, I guess that would be Warner Brothers. So DC, do you want to buy Terminegro? Like, it's got to be mine. I got to do everything with it. I'm just going to keep it mine. Sorry. Terminegro on a mission to save Cat Williams from the Illuminati. That sounds like an episode of the Boondocks. That sounds amazing. He has a hell of a drive and glitches out when he misses a putt. I would love that. We got to make a joke about Tiger Woods, too. Like, are there other black golfers? Like, Tiger Woods, well, he's part Asian, right? Are there any, like, black golfers that are popular? Because the Terminegro could come back for that reason about the programming or the whatever. But you could just have it be like, oh, my God, it's this new black golfer on the scene. What's your name? Oh, what is the Terminegro's code name going to be? And here's the question. Is it the same Terminegro or is it a different Terminegro every time? Like, are we ever going to address the future where we send back this black robot? Or is it going to just be like in the Terminator where he just comes back? Like John Connor sends him back. John Connor sends him back. Does he have a thing for blondes? He could. I like brunettes. Strong preference, actually. Anyway, blondes are cool too. He has to save Stevie Wonder's eyesight. Ooh. He has to go back and save little baby Stevie Wonder. Hold on a second. Because Stevie Wonder's is kind of messed up, let's do Ray Charles instead. Because I'm pretty sure Ray Charles saw something that like was shocking, and then he went blind after that. Maybe we have the but then that would undo the music. We got to think bigger. LBJ. No. Tiger Woods could be Ginger Scotsman calling him out for culturally appropriating golf. That could be kind of funny. Back to AI's failure to identify race. He could mistake Vijay Singh for Tiger Woods. I think that would be pretty funny that the AI can't tell like anybody that's not white or different. They're just like, oh yeah, they all look the same. Because there's an old Spider-Man image years ago. You talk about failed projects, things that'll never see the light of day. A couple years ago, we were working on these like social justice warrior cards. And it was a series of just like very punny on the nose things. And one of my favorite ones was Crisis on Infinite Genders or Crisis of Infinite Genders. And it was like a head. And it was like, maybe it was it 6? It's 5 because you do 2 and 2 and 1 in the middle. But it's like a gradation of heads. So you start out and you transform. I think that'd be funny to like show the Terminegro's HUD display, and it's like people he can identify, and then everything else is just like blends to a blur, and you get this like blurry looking question mark. That's just me thinking about that. The Terminegro model BBC 1000. Yes. Oh my God, that is too funny. You guys are great. I absolutely love it. How do I feel about James Bond with a woman reboot, like James Blonde? I would never watch it. James Bond, I'm very old school. He shouldn't even have blonde hair. He should have dark hair, blue eyes. Well, I don't really care about the eye color. He should have dark hair and look the part. Clive Owen is a great missed opportunity. Henry Cavill was a great missed opportunity. Pierce Brosnan was a good time as James Bond. I loved it. Let me write down the whole Terminator race thing. Yeah, I have a shorthand for Terminegro. He's just spelled Termin. That's his new name now. You know what I should do is I should make the art like we should remember in the 1980s manga and anime how they have like the technical readouts of those characters, like that style. I'll use that old font and we'll make it very look cool. Or they look very cool and old school. Yes, Hoagie Carmichael is how Bond is supposed to look. That's how Ian Fleming describes him. And there's even a thing called like a portrait of James Bond, which isn't an actual portrait, but it's like a visual or a text-based portrait. So that's a thing. And yes, Hoagie Carmichael is the inspiration for 007. So guys, I showed you something from the collectible shelf, did I not? Yes, I showed you Zelda. And I think James Blonde is the name of an adult parody. Well, Axel Braun should make more Bond movies. Bonefinger. And you could do, you should just make a porno parody called Pussy Galore, a XXX parody. Come on. You don't even have to put the parody in it. You just name it Pussy Galore. She's a Bond girl. He needs a 187 in his model name. Oh! Folks, when Terminegro goes to Comic-Con, San Diego Comic-Con 2027, what I should really do, here's the problem, because we're doing this online, so I can't hide my face. It would be amazing to do all this Terminegro stuff and release it with a fake name and this and that, and the internet's like, oh, it's so racist, it's this angry white guy. And then, like, I'll have Dion and I go to Comic-Con together, and we'll just be like, hey, yeah, this is Terminegro. This is the face behind Terminegro. What you gonna say? I just kind of want to do it codename Mr. T. Maybe Mr. T is the scientist when they make a Terminegro movie, Mr. T will play the scientist. Could you imagine Mr. T is like a Dr. Light of the Maybe Terminegro is inspired by Mega Man as much as he is the Terminator. That'd be horrible. But will there still be a San Diego Comic-Con in 2027? Yeah, I actually think so. Comic-Con's looking to be pretty solid this year. I think we're getting back to our old roots. So 3 years from now, I believe Comic-Con will still be around. I know E3 died abruptly, and you're thinking, Jeff, what about that? I don't think that's the case. Terminegro Model 187 is 90s Tupac DMX look. Model BBC 1000 is his Barry White clone. I am going to make sure he goes back in time and interacts with Tupac and Biggie Smalls and some fallen rappers. Maybe the villain of the story is Suge Knight. Will Suge Knight send somebody from prison to kill me? I think it would be funny if somebody made fun of me in a comic book. I'd be like, cool, they drew me. They took the time to do this. Dan Rat, thank you very much for pledging to Wokebusters. I appreciate that. I appreciate everybody out there, but damn, I want to put your name on the screen. Thank you very much for getting yourself a copy of the graphic novel. It's happened. It's happening. Everything's going. Really excited, folks. So grateful that you guys believed in this one and that you're excited for it and you're hungry for it. You have until Sunday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But now that it's crossed, I believe it'll stay. I don't know exactly how that works. Also, too, I am going to correct my mistake later today. I will make a tweet. I will make sure it's available for England. I have Europe, like the European Union, and I went, oh, I got Europe covered. And then I thought, they use the euro. That's why they're in the. And I was like, how did I mess this up? I'm not oblivious to these things. I will say when I have a lot on my plate or I'm thinking about a lot of things, I kind of forget. Sometimes when I'm trying to read the chat, talk to you, and do something else, I sound like I'm having a breakdown like the Terminegro is out of Soul Glow. Jeff is the Terminegro teaser trailer. Yes, I am. I got to come up with, I got to come up with like either a black African drum version of that or like a hip hop drum version of that. That would be the best. Like, what's the Terminator's theme? It's still the drums, but it sounds like a Southern College drum line or something like that. Oh, that's amazing. The Terminator can't ID black faces. He goes back in time to stop Puff Daddy, but he shoots Tupac in Vegas instead. Or the Terminator is made in Mexico and his manufacturing plant has been taken over by a cartel and finds Clint Eastwood running a mule mission. Oh my God. I love this stuff, guys. I'm going to just like sit down and think about this. That's the only bad part about a comic. It takes some time, some production time, but man, What if Terminegro is our big franchise? Like that's like I make it as a joke, and people are like, "Oh wait, I kind of like Terminegro." I'm gonna I'm gonna draw it in a very fun, like colorful way, like very big and over the top. What I do plan on doing with it too is anytime he visits a time period, I'm gonna make the setting look like the art created during that time period. So I'm not gonna do like etchings or stuff because that would just take forever. But if he goes back to Civil War to stop Lincoln's assassination, I'll make it look, it'll have that like twinge of like that Civil War aesthetic. I'm going to make it very true to each era. So when you get one of my books, each one's kind of its own art piece itself. A lot of times people, and me too, I'm a comic book consumer, a fan, a reader. Sometimes you treat it as the next chapter in another story. But when you buy it independently from me, I want you to know that each one's going to be its own like individual thing. It might tie in narratively to other stuff, but like each one has its own bells and whistles that make it a unique collectible. The Terminegro saves Sam Cooke. Dion would like that one. Guess no one should ever call the Terminegro boy. That would be funny. Oh, you could do a really good joke where it's like he turns over and goes, boy, and then he goes, does not compute. And it's like he doesn't understand what a boy is. He knows that he's what he is. See, I am not worried about offending people, and I don't get offended. But there's a way to do this type of edgy humor in a smart way that makes people think, and then they can't get mad about it because they go, oh, wait, that's how I handled Wokebusters. Do I got some stereotypical shit in there? Yeah, as a joke. And you're going to read that in Terminegro versus the Woman King. That would be my last issue because that would just be me doing like, lady, you're terrible. That movie's trash. You changed the narrative. I would love to get Terminegro in front of Spike Lee just to hear him say, this is offensive. And I go, thanks, Spike. Because you said it, I'm taking that as a great badge of honor. Trigger words from his unfinished programming, and we don't know what they are unless we guess or are regular readers. But I think the funny part would be if it's triggering, it's just like, does not compute. What? What did you say? He like actually doesn't understand it. Stereotypes are funny because they're true. That's what humor is based on. Comedy is based on a lot of that stuff. I think it's also too that we all separate ourselves from a joke versus what we actually believe in. People might read this chat and go, your audience is terrible. No, my audience is in on the joke and we're all having fun together. Would you guys want me to sit up here? I'm here on the ground level like you guys. I don't know where Ohio stands in terms of sea elevation. But do you really want me to sit and talk down to you guys about this crap? That's not the appeal of this channel. This is a group thing we all do together. We have fun. Don't be a Terminegro to South Central. I like that one. Terminegro invented to stop a time-traveling George Washington Carver. We're going to definitely get George Washington Carver in this. Hold on. When was George Washington Carver alive? George Washington Carver. Okay, he died in 1943. When was he born? 1864. Shit. I had an idea. The Terminegro goes back to the Civil War era. He runs out of Soul Glow for his joints. So George Washington Carver creates a synthetic oil from peanuts that'll help the Terminegro finish his mission. That's what I came up with off the top of my head. Maybe we'll come up with a way to tie it in together. I don't want to be too anachronistic because that stuff annoys me. Like when I watch a movie set in the 80s and it's like set in 1982, but then it plays Everybody Wants to Rule the World from 1985. I go, that song doesn't exist. Why don't you just set your movie in the 80s? Don't tell me what year it is and just kind of go from there. Like if I was going to do a 90s story, to me, there are two ways to do a 90s story. Late and early 90s. What is the difference? If you do an early 90s story, it's got to be about grunge. It's got to have that kind of element in it. But if you're doing a late 90s story, which is more broad, you just say set in the 90s, and then you can introduce more technology and some of the stuff from our modern world, and the designs and the elements wouldn't be as based on like a certain element. But if you're doing early 90s, you got to do grunge. You got to do more of the aesthetic shit from that. Late 2000s, we've already kind of opened up the world with the internet, and things are changing very quickly. Terminator goes on a mission to find out why the Gingers are being deleted. I wouldn't mind doing a comic book called Redheaded Erasure. Ooh, maybe that'd be about a serial killer, though. Let me write that one down, too. Fuck, I am never going to stop doing comics. That's okay. I already know how I'm going to make that one look like Ozark, set in the woods. I love stories that take place in the Pacific Northwest. Part of me would love to live in like a big house in the Pacific Northwest, kind of in the woods, but overlooking water, but it's quiet. But I don't want to live in like the West because it's the West. I've done it. I'm not, there are no preconceived notions. I've been out there. I've done it. I've done my time. Ooh, that's a great idea. Make it so the decades are the same regardless of the century. 1970s pimps and 1770s. Oh, man. You guys remember that episode of It's Always Sunny where it shows how the gang cracked the Liberty Bell? I could do wigs in pimp outfits. Oh, and we could take 70s slang and tie it together with the British vernacular. Oh, man. I got to write that one down, too. 1770s pimps. It'd be funny. I do shit in the 70s and all these other decades, and I never do stuff from the 80s, my passion decade. Nick is the big 80s guy. He loves that stuff. Like when it happens in SAS Rogue Hero, set in World War II, but you can hear Thunderstruck as part of the soundtrack. That takes me out of it. Like Metal Gear Solid 5, when he had the cassette, I listened to Take On Me. I'm like, why wouldn't I listen to Take On Me when I'm running around doing sniping? Yankee Doodle is George Washington's Shaft theme. Hold on. I know another reason why he could go back to the 1770s. The Terminegro has to stop Thomas Jefferson from getting one of his slaves pregnant because that will create a lineage. There we go. Another one. I'm just like, hold on. These keep coming to me. Because that's the kind of fun shit I want to do. Let me block this off. TG story. That could also be the first issue. Maybe it's a two. Maybe we do two stories, depending. I got to write these things out and see how much meat they have. Because with comedy, you can't stretch it out too much. And you can't have like a comedic tone and then a bunch of serious shit and then tie it up with comedy at the end. It's got to be consistent. That's the same thing with Wokebusters. It starts out as comedy, it ends as comedy, but I do introduce more action. That's how I change it up to keep it interesting. Because certain elements are people talking because it's a conversation. But as soon as I can get them out of a room, I put them in a park. I put them in a sewer. I put them in infiltrating a business at night. That's what that black and white page is, where they break into somewhere and they have to sneak in and go to the sewers. Like I do put my characters in action. And that's really important to me, especially when they get held hostage at one point in the story. I'm like, how do I get them out of this? Well, I can't have them just talk their way out of it. I have to have them blow their way out of it. So that's my comic creation. That kind of stuff is just as important as having, and I know this is crazy to say, but like a big splash page or like rendering every glass fragment on the ground. That is all very important. But it's all also very important to make things tonally make sense. That is the thing I don't think a lot of people take into account with their work. It can look great. It can have a pretty cool story, but sometimes they just don't blend. If you were to have like Todd McFarlane draw Wokebusters, it wouldn't work because it would be too. The tone wouldn't fit. But you could have other modern guys do it as well. Terminator saves George Washington, and his payment is like, how about 3/5? Ooh. I will only do that joke if I can do Terminator going back to the 20s for women's suffrage. And he's like, something about the future being bright. Yeah, only 70% of the time. Just make like some fucking pay gap joke. Is it real? Is it not real? Whatever. That's the kind of shit I want to make fun of. That's what I do. That's what Wokebusters is. I'm gonna keep doing that shit. It's funny. It's like I'm creating my own genre of comic where it's like social commentary, but it's not. It's like satirical takes on shit that's annoying throughout history with a great character named the Terminegro, the BBC 1000. Now, does the Terminegro bed women, or does he say something like, I ain't got time to love? No, the Terminegro, the Terminegro can't get anybody pregnant. That's why he's popular, because he's just a machine. Jeff, earlier this week you were talking about Dad Rock Action Film Fest. There are a bunch of old fogies very interested about that. I'm not even an old fogey yet, and I'm interested in those because they're just good, serviceable action movies that come out in February. Nobody's the most recent one I could think of. And guys, the last couple of years with movies, I follow a lot of stuff for the channel, but I haven't seen a lot of things. But really, it starts in 2009 with Taken, and from it's like a 10-year window. Pretty much any of the Liam Neeson movies. I won't put Tom Cruise in there because Tom Cruise is still like mainline actiony, but you got that. There's also who else is in there? Bruce Willis with his Death Wish remake. I said that before. I'll go back and I'll get you guys a list and we'll talk about some Dad Rock action movies because they're fun. I want us to be able to cover any type of entertainment on WCBS. Maybe he should just do Jive Talk or whatever. That's what is that what it's called? He'll talk like that. You got to think to avoid being bad. And I don't mean like stereotype equals bad. I mean like I want to make sure that I have this thought out properly. So if I'm going to riff on certain types of talk, like for example, the joke I just came up with like Mr. T being the scientist, it would be like, what's 80s black slang instead of 70s black slang? Because also too, it does have to be derivative of 1980s stuff because the Terminator comes from that era. And when you're doing a parody, you don't at least for me, I want it to be referential to the era that it comes from. So with Wokebusters, I make it referential as the type of comedy that comes from 80s comedies, not necessarily the characters don't look like they live in the 80s. That to me just wasn't going to line up with it because if I'm making fun of the modern wokeness, that didn't exist in the 1980s. So how am I going to make fun of that? It's not what the story is. So at the Terminegro, whatever the 80s equivalent of Jive Talk would be. So that's why I got like Jerry Curl oil or stuff like that. Like, yeah, you're going to play up on certain stereotypes and do certain things, but you got to make sure that it's of the era that you're riffing on. Because to do all of that, we can send the Terminegro to the 70s, and that would be funny. That is when you really amp up the, what does he go back with this time? He's got a futuristic pimp. Maybe he always has a futuristic pimp mobile in every decade. Like, I don't know how he gets his car there, but he's got his cars and his clothes. They make it back with him every time. It's like, I got to look fly even in the 1770s. We'll figure that out. But I would go that route before I'd hit that 70s. Because do we have time-traveling robot movies in the 70s? Like, Logan's Run is a good movie, but it's not about that. If he does bed women, he needs to come with interchangeable attachments like a Sibian. I am not drawing the Terminegro's wiener ever. Sorry. It'll be implied that he beds all these ladies, but, it'll be in there. Like a Back to the Future DeLorean, but a pimp mobile. Man, if it wasn't taken, Austin Powers has a pimp mobile time machine in Goldmember. It's pretty good. I hate that movie, but it's a good one. I want a futuristic pimp mobile now. I will put it in the story just to lay claim to the futuristic pimp mobile. The Pimp 9000 or something like that. And it'll stand, it's like, it's an acronym, P.I.M.P. It'll be like something mobile protection. What does pimp stand for in the chat, folks? We'll figure that out. The Bromobile. All my characters have to have cool cars now. Stealing Solo, there's a van, but we don't talk about it except for one panel. The Wokebusters have Logic 1, and the Terminator now has the Pimp 9000. It's like Conky from Pee-wee's Playhouse, except blacker. Oh, man. Man, I am an asshole. I said I wasn't going to stream into 12 o'clock. It's 12:43. Well, The Man from Pimp could be a cool TV series. Yeah, I like the Man from P.I.M.P. That should be a name of one of his. If the Terminator has to go back to the 60s to stop something in the Cold War era, he's the Man from P.I.M.P. Now, these are going to be like 22-page issues. And I don't want to like... how do I do this the right way? What I should do is write out 4 of these stories, draw 4 of these stories, and then kind of just release them. And by the second one, I'll know if it's going to have a bigger audience. The Bromobile and the Dude-mobile. If he goes to the 90s, I would love to do a crossover with Terminegro and the Dude, or the Terminegro and Hunter S. Thompson. That could be kind of cool. PIMP stands for Pneumatic Intelligent Mechanical Prosthetic. Oh my God, is that why he keeps his pimp hands strong? Oh, you guys are... I'm supposed to be the one entertaining you guys. You're sitting here entertaining me. I fucking love it. Oh. I want to go make Terminegro. You know, Toronto John, I have thought a period piece James Bond film would be excellent. I would love to do James Bond in the 60s. No computers, no cell phones, just a man with a gun, maybe a radio and a cool watch and a couple other things. And that is that's all he's got. I just don't want to see James Bond with too many things. Too many technologies. Toronto Greg. There we go. Old Greg. Well, guys, it's 12:45. We went for 2.5 hours. I hope the new James Bond movie won't go woke. I think that the producer, I think Barbara Broccoli wants to make James Bond like that, but I think Michael G. Wilson does not. And there's 2 people that have that power. So the James Bond franchise is just not going to come around for a while. Hopefully it goes away for so long. And then once it comes into the public domain, that I'll write my James Bond novel, and then people will be hungry for that to get turned into a movie. But since I wrote it, they'll have to talk to me. And Eon, I want a big check. Honestly, it's not about the money. If they're like, we want to option your book and turn it into a movie, I'd make some weird deals like James Bond's got to look like James Bond. Hell, in my public domain James Bond novel that I'll write in 2025, I'll just draw a little picture of what James Bond looks like. That'll be the joke. A Dr. No prequel would be sick. Did you know, Jettison Guy, that there are many Dr. No prequels because Dr. No, the novel, is not the first book. It is, let's see, From Russia with Love predates Dr. No because in the James Bond movie From Russia with Love, Rosa Klebb has that poison-tipped shoe. In the book, she actually hits James Bond and he dies. It ends on a cliffhanger. And so he spends a lot of the Dr. No book in the hospital recovering from that. Barbara Broccoli won't bend to wokeness. They just need to stay clear of love story stuff. In the modern world, you should have James Bond. James Bond can have romance, can have women. It doesn't make, like Skyfall. Bernice Marlowe's character was perfect. She was that, she was like a former prostitute or something that worked at the casino, and then like Bond sweeps her on the boat, and they have their little fling, and then she gets killed. You should have those elements. Bond should have his women. I don't think Bond needs his final girl. I don't think he needs to ride off into the sunset with these women. He should just have them along the way. And then, like, I love Pierce Brosnan James Bond movies, but there is no reason that Christmas Jones needs to be running around at the end of that movie. She's stupid and poorly acted and a terrible character. Wei Lin, on the other hand, should be on the mission. Natalia should be on the mission because she is a technical wizard. Not once does Natalia beat the bad guys. She is smart, and on the computer she wins that kind of battle, but she needs Bond to save the day. And it's funny, she kind of saves Bond at the end of the day with the helicopter, but again, she doesn't know how to pilot a helicopter. She just holds a guy hostage and says, pilot this, go up there. That's good to me. That's good enough. I also don't need to see James Bond team up with super spies. I don't like Halle Berry as Jinx. I hate that movie. I hate that character. Don't need to watch it. I don't want to see James Bond team up with like every once in a while, have him team up with a female agent or have him team up with somebody that is necessary to the plot. But don't just have a girl team up with him like Christmas Jones. Bond really didn't. He did all the reactor stuff. He did the stuff with the bomb. He did it all. Christmas Jones is just eye candy. I'm sorry I'm yelling about that damn movie. Nothing wrong with womanizing. At the end of the day, it's a fictional story. It's a fake character. We're not supposed to look at James Bond for his good guy morality. He drinks. He smokes. He gambles. He fucks around. He goes off and he leaves these people. I don't understand why it's so offensive to people. Wei Lin was great. I like Michelle Yeoh quite a bit. I saw this movie with her and Cynthia Rothrock. I think it's a series of films, and it's really fun. I like it a lot. Yeah, I don't want to have, and here's where I draw a line. It's not about women talking to men. It's I don't want to watch the main character of anything be talked down to by some nobody character, because we're all there to see the main guy or woman. You know, you're there to see a Wonder Woman movie or Underworld or fucking Resident Evil. Why would you go see Resident Evil? No judgment. But it all stems from we don't want to watch our favorite heroes get talked down to. We kind of project ourselves into our characters. And so do you want to be talked down to by some shitty little lady that weighs 100 pounds and she can, kick your ass all of a sudden? No, that's where they draw the line and mess it up. We're so worried about female characters representing certain things, and so they just let the guy characters be treated like crap. And you got to go equally, or you just got to stop making these things so serious. Monica Bellucci is the most wasted casting as a Bond girl. I agree. I love Monica Bellucci, all-time great. I like Italian ladies, and she should have done more than being the bride of some Spectre agent. But at least James Bond banged her, so that was cool. Bond fucks around. His enemies find out. That's how's that for a poster tagline? I'd watch that version of James Bond. And the suspension of disbelief gets destroyed by those lines. I agree with that as well. It's a fantasy. Amazing or not, it's a fantasy. And we're supposed to be taken off to this other world, to this other time, and we're supposed to escape. I know last week was so crazy in terms of all the world events. And then, this weekend we had more world events. And it just keeps getting kind of crazier. But I think what we're doing here on the channel is we're creating this nice bastion of real world stuff just kind of falling by the wayside. I can't call it a safe space because that's stupid. But it is just a place where people kind of ignore the rigors of the real world, and we talk about the term negro for an hour and we have fun. You guys are great. I'm so glad Good Morning Pop Culture is reaching people. We're moving it up. We talk about numbers. I'd like it to get 1,000 people watching live. We'll do what we got to do to make that. And then the next step is to continue that on. So, folks, you can help spread the word by telling everybody about Good Morning Pop Culture, your favorite way to spend a morning. Even if you're not at work, you're lurking at home. So I'd like to thank everybody for joining us this morning. I keep trying to go, and then new stuff keeps popping up, and I'm like, damn it, now we're going to go another couple of minutes. Like Chariots of Fire, it suddenly becomes a sci-fi film when you notice the black athletes holding back so the lead protagonist can win. The only thing I like about Chariots of Fire is that song, Chariots of Fire by Vangelis. I have a personal issue with that film. There are two movies I hate for the wrong reason. Annie Hall and Chariots of Fire. They both did the thing that I hate. They kept the Best Picture Oscar from Star Wars with Annie Hall and Chariots of Fire, Raiders of the Lost Ark. Raiders of the Lost Ark is that good of a movie. It is Best Picture worthy. It is Oscar sweep worthy. It's above everything in terms of the action genre. It is what I call high art action. Yes, it's gritty. Yes, it's this, but it's got an awesome story, great music, great casting. It's a great movie. Yes, Raiders should have won the Oscar. In Star Wars, same thing. Do you really like Annie Hall? If you do, that's awesome. But it isn't Star Wars. It didn't change the world. And again, unlike other movies, I do think it's that good of a story. It's that great. It's that fun. It's It's that different. It really changes a lot of stuff. I kind of want to watch Star Wars. I kind of want to watch Raiders. Kind of want to eat lunch because it's almost time to break the fast. And I got to make videos, folks. I am behind, but Stealing Solo 2 is calling my name. So what would you guys rather have? A video? There'll be videos tomorrow, but should I do? You know what? Fuck it. I already made up my mind. I am going to sit down after lunch and I'm going to do creative work the rest of the day. It is my brand. It is what we do. We had a great success with Wokebusters and Stealing Solo. We got to have more in the future. And guys, I put great effort into all this stuff. Even if it's a joke topic, I make sure it works. And I want to make sure that each and every project has that same level of care. So that's what the rest of the day is. I'm going to focus on that. Raiders is awesome, but the Brits are the best at historic dramas, and historical dramas are treated with more respect than sci-fi or action-adventure movies, unfortunately. That's fair. I'm just coming from my fandom. I do think Raiders of the Lost Ark should have won. Greg Kirby wants bro videos. What's a bro video? I agree, but the Academy had to keep those young whippersnappers in their place, like Peter Jackson not being awarded Best Director until Return of the King. I don't even think that's the best Lord of the Rings movie. I like Fellowship the best. I also think Peter Jackson's best work is his early work because it's so raw. It's like Sam Raimi. Like Sam Raimi is so much more influential than you guys realize because Sam Raimi influences Peter Jackson's work, and they both bring you big movies. The Spider-Man trilogy, the Lord of the Rings epic saga, Evil Dead. Come on, Evil Dead 2 is amazing. And look at, when we get to October and Good Morning Pop Culture is still sticking around, we're going to have a lot of fun. Yes, Brain Dead, aka Dead Alive. Love it. I Kick Ass for the Lord is the greatest movie line of any zombie flick. And on top of that, when, not Emmett, what's his name? He puts folks, there's a zombie outbreak in this movie. And to fight the zombies, a guy takes a lawnmower, he straps it to his chest, he turns it on, and he like runs through and just turns these zombies into blood. It's amazing. You gotta watch it. It's the craziest movie you can possibly imagine. And Bad Taste is about a group of aliens who come to New Zealand and kidnap the population of a town to use the humans for fast food ingredients called Crumbs Crunchy Delights. Yes, it's a movie and it's fantastic. You should check it out for sure. All right, guys, we're going to go 4 more minutes to close it out at 1 o'clock. I told you 12. Now you're getting 1. We're not even Good Morning Pop Culture anymore. We're, hey, good day. It's Jeff. That would be a terrible name of a show. Hey, good day. It's Jeff. If I was in Australia, maybe wouldn't do that. Peter Jackson's Forgotten Sliver is the best War of the Worlds tier spoof. I don't think I've actually heard of that one. Forgotten Silver. I have to look into that. I know Meet the Feebles and Brain Dead and Bad Taste and Frighteners. It's funny. My buddy the other day was like, hey, man, there's this weird movie I heard about. You might like it. And he explained it to me. And I go, oh, this. And I sent him a picture of the Blu-ray. Like, I love The Frighteners. That's a good movie. Good brunch pop culture. I could go for some brunch. Good afternoon pop culture. It's definitely a good afternoon. One more Terminegro. The Daywalker. Someone contaminates his biofluids to turn him into a mechanical vampire, and Wesley Snipes has to turn him back. Oh my God. I really want to get Wesley Snipes involved. Here's the pitch. We meet Wesley Snipes with this successful comic book. We're like, look, Marvel does not want you, but we do. Let's make the Terminegro happen. Could you imagine Terminegro with Wesley Snipes? It's just Blade, but he's a robot. Peter Jackson lost a job directing a Bond film due to Barbara Broccoli being disgusted by the Frighteners. I don't want to come off as I'm going after a lady, but that lady is really bad at her job. She's a Nepo baby. Why is she the producer of James Bond? Because she worked her ass off for all these decades to prove that she's good enough? No, her dad bought the rights in the 60s, right? He didn't buy it in 59. Broccoli and Saltzman did that shit in the early 60s, and she's related. Michael G. Wilson is his stepson. It's a family enterprise. They're not going to let somebody come in like me who would do it better. No, we're going to keep the legacy of the Broccoli family. Look, guys, you're lucky. Most James Bond movies are good. There's only a handful of them that are pretty crappy, but none of them are garbage movies. And yeah, even the new Daniel Craig ones try to keep maintain a level of quality, and they look nice aesthetically, but they're not very fun movies to watch. And they ultimately fail because it's not that the climate isn't right for James Bond. It's that you're not right to adapt James Bond into what he should be. Fun, over the top. John Wick. Why is John Wick so good? Why don't they censor or neuter the violence? Because they're not worried about offending people. John Wick is an action franchise. Bond, they try to make it for everybody. They try to make it for men, women. They want to make it a 4-quadrant film. It's supposed to appeal to a certain type of person, and then everybody else catches on because they're good and they're cool movies. When you water it down, you water it down. We don't want that. Michael G. Wilson's dad played Batman in one of the movie serials. I did not know that. I was taught something new about James Bond by AJ Journeyman in the chat. Thank you. You had a late night. I'm surprised you actually want to do the morning show after a late night. Well, Garth, I'm riding high on the fact that Wokebusters passed its goal. I can't verbalize anything besides saying thank you, and I'm not going to jump up and dance on camera. I'm not that kind of a guy. I'm not going to be like Tom Cruise. I love Katie Holmes. I'm not gay. That's not me. What I am going to do is continue to be so happy. Like, a weight has been lifted, and I feel like anything is possible, just like Kevin Garnett said. So what I'm going to do is, share that excitement with you guys. And Wednesday's our best day. I really want to sit down. I keep a calendar by the desk. I got stuff lined up on it. I have a bigger calendar. I've now downsized to the small one because it's easier to manage. But more is always more on this platform, and I just want to balance it out and bring you guys my directive starting in August is to be in your feed every day in some form or fashion. Because I know I'm in your hearts all the time, but I want to be at the forefront of everything. So when you see a WCBS video drop, everybody goes, oh, I got to watch that in the first hour. We're working on all kinds of stuff. But it was all necessary to get Wokebusters done, and now that ends the way it ends, and we ride on to something else. Stealing Solo 2. Thank you, Greg Kirby. Yasuke is a lie. You should be more like Mr. Nobody. Who is Mr. Nobody? I'll have to look into him. Or should be more like Mr. Nobody. Let's see. I don't think Deadpool Wolverine's making $1 billion. It just has to break even. Greg, I don't think the movie's going to make $1 billion. I say this movie makes Guardians of the Galaxy money. The $1 billion superhero picture is in the past. At least until we have a series of good films that can build a brand. The Marvels failed, but Captain Marvel made $1 billion. Why? Because the brand is hot. Black Panther made $400 million less than his previous film. Yes, the actor passed away, but because the brand was hot. Also, too, I don't want to watch a bunch of girls running around, oh, I'm the Black Panther, I'm the Black Panther. And now we got to wait for this little boy to grow up. Mark with a C said it really well. He's like, and I'm just paraphrasing. You guys can see the tweet to exactly what he said. But he essentially posits as, does Hollywood think black people are so sensitive or they think inferior in an inferior manner that they can't handle a new actor replacing Chadwick Boseman? And when he said it like in his words, I said I'm paraphrasing because I don't want to put words in somebody's mouth, but I really was like, yeah, that kind of is how it feels. And it's stupid. It's like we're trying to make certain things holy that aren't supposed to be holy. You just need to move on. If Daniel Craig would have died playing James Bond, they should have just had somebody come in to finish the movie. Sorry, but that's how harsh I take it. Oh, Spy Undercover. That's what Mr. Nobody is about. Oh, okay. Let's see. If mouth-to-mouth of fans and hype of others. So if word of mouth is good, it'll possibly reach $1 billion. Kevin Flynn says, is Stealing Solo 2 going to be on Kickstarter? And if so, when will you start that so we can get behind it? Probably because, the funding is a reality, but I'm not going to put anything up until it is pretty much done. Meaning, I'm going to work on it now, and I'm getting the pages lined up. I'm going to I already got a new sketchbook. I buy a new sketchbook for every comic I do, so I can have all the ideas in one place. And then maybe down the road, people will want to auction it off and have it. But I will do it that way, but I'm going to treat it like the secondary stuff with Wokebusters. It'll be done, and I'm going to get it out quickly and efficiently, so you guys can know that when you do back the stuff, it's not going to be a long wait. I don't like you waiting long because I don't enjoy. I get mad when I have like other things that keep me from this stuff, but I had to just kind of stop everything to make sure I got through Wokebusters. But I will give you guys ample time. I'm really shooting for a book around election season, so I know people buy certain things closer to Christmas and stuff for that, but I want you guys to have it as soon as possible. And, I have some plans with it, but my goal is 4 months from now to have it be funding. And then it only takes X amount of days to get it, stuff and printed. And my goal is to basically get it to you guys as a Christmas book, as a nice Christmas gift to yourself. That won't be me stressing myself out. That won't be me forcing myself to do things that makes the art inferior. That's me on a realistic schedule. A page of comic book art can be done within a day or so, especially the way I draw, because I like color to fill in certain things. Oh, Jorge L. De Jesus, or De Jesus. Did I get it right? I'm not trying to butcher the name. I apologize. Don't apologize. I get it. I'm just glad that we reach people from all over the world. So I got what you were saying. Let's see. I was so bored last night that I played Minecraft for the first time. You should have joined us on the Tuesday night show. Stealing Solo for the Life Day special? Well, I can guarantee everything I make is better than the Star Wars Holiday special. So don't have to worry about that. But guys, I'm excited. I'm so grateful that you guys are so pumped for the next story. Stealing Solo 2, The Farce Awakens. And then number 3, Frankenfisher, The Bride of Solo. What's funny is, for the longest time, this will be my last point because I will close this out at 3 hours on the dot. For the longest time, I was like, man, I can't wait to get the Frankenfisher. But now that I've actually storyboarded and workshopped Stealing Solo 2, I'm just as excited. This level of depravity that our Mark Hamill parody character will go into, it knows no bounds. It knows nothing. And you will have something very funny and very, very pointed at the end of this year. I streamed Minecraft. No. I don't even play Minecraft. Sorry, dude. There are things I don't do as a man. I don't play Minecraft as one of them. I'm sorry. I'm not even digging on you. I've tried it once. I don't like it. I don't like retro bad graphics that are like that style is just frustrating to me. It's just 3D NES graphics. Dion's kid loves Minecraft, and I'm Uncle Jeff, and I will buy those kids what they want for Christmas every year. I don't care. It's like, oh, I want this, I want that. Cool. D2 wanted Minecraft toys. I had so much trouble spending money on them because they are the biggest pieces of junk. They are flat. They have no paint. They're just molded and they're pixelated and they look just like the game. But I'm like, this is $20. I'm looking at like a wrestling figure, and I get it. Brands are different and stuff like that. But, these wrestling figures are bordering on photorealism. Like even the basic ones, they come with these printed heads. They look great. The new Hulk Hogan. I'm like, I'm just going to buy this because it looks great. It was like $12. The Minecraft stuff looks so cheap. I could not justify that. How many Shurikopters did I see at Ollie's? I see a dozen in every store. I've done, Nick went out of town and shot some footage for me that's going to be in the next toy video. That too had a lot of Shurikopters. Darth Vader, kids like different stuff. I'm not here to, kid's a kid. They're different. I don't get it. And I don't get the adults that are into it. And like, I've met people at GameStop. They're like, oh, Minecraft and Fortnite are the best games out there. And like, they mean it. They kind of remind me of the Disney adults where it's like a couple, but they're like dressed as like Mickey and Minnie. She's got the dress, he's got suspenders on, and they're like doing it unironically. And I don't like to ruin people's fun, but I always question, like, That's the one I question. What the hell? Like, this is not for me. Yeah, Toronto John, I'm not about it. Lord Skywalker says, it's hard to watch these when we have to look at your face, man. Well, thank you. Hold on. Can I make it bigger? I can't zoom in anymore. I can get closer, but I can't. You know, it's funny, too. The numbers have actually shown a different trajectory. They've gone up since we show ourselves. So, thank you. Garth Vader says, I would just rather play my NES. I'm a Super NES guy, but I do like the NES quite a bit. But some of those games are really dumb. Like, they're hard because they're short games and they need to be difficult so you don't beat them in 5 minutes. But the Super Nintendo is this, like, perfect storm of a system. I really love it. I also love the N64 and the PS2. Those are three of them. And the 360. If you put those together, those are, for me, what I consider the best consoles because the game library was awesome. And 360, their online was great. It was the first time that I played something online that felt smooth. I didn't need to buy an adapter. I didn't need to buy extra crap. I just plugged in my Xbox to my modem, and I was good to go. Have I played Super Metroid? Man, I love Super Metroid. I have played it. I haven't beaten it, though. I got it on an emulator, but I also got it on Nintendo Switch. That's the thing I really liked. I really like the Switch because you can go back and you can play all sorts of things from every generation of Nintendo. So, guys, I lied. I said I was going to end at the 3-hour mark. It's now 3 hours and 1 minute. But Good Morning Pop Culture has gone on. What I love about Nintendo is you can buy the old game that's on it. I like that idea, Greg, but then I also don't like that they have strict draconian policies. You can't get all the good games. You can't get a lot of licensed games. You can't get some of the stuff I want to play. Like on the PS2, they don't re-release SmackDown versus Raw 06 because Chris Benoit's in the game, and you got to pay the license to all these old wrestlers. So that's why emulation is valuable. Emulation's great, and I'm going to stand by it. I also want people to buy games and support these people, but again, like with my comic books, the shit I want to play and download and not necessarily get on, physical version, nobody's actually getting money from that outside of the reseller. If I go buy a whole physical collection of PS2 games, I made other people rich. The developers, they've been paid. The rights have maybe expired. It doesn't matter. But if I emulate it, who gives a shit? I play it in 4K. It looks cool. I play it and I move on to something else. So, folks, it is time to move on to something else. Toronto John, thank you for being in the chat. Thank you, folks, for having a good time with me today. I'll be back next time with more. That is Friday for this show and tomorrow night for the WCBS podcast where we'll review Deadpool 3. So if you're watching this, if you made it this far into the stream, no, I didn't see the movie. I'm not here to dunk on it, but I'll give you an honest review. But until then, folks, be smart, be safe, be cool, but always be excellent to each other.